right there in the hunt for the BCS at large bid if they can pull off that home field win. They have to take on a Michigan team with Chad Henne, a young quarterback who's actually been a little bit more efficient in road games for Michigan, which is unusual.
This Michigan offense is becoming more diversified as the weeks go on, and the reason is the continuing development of their young running back, the true freshman Michael Hart. And the most impressive thing about Michael Hart, first of all, he's 5'9", 195 pounds. He's averaging 30 carries a game in Big Ten play, and that's the most impressive thing, to be that size and to be able to continue to run the football and pound it in there when you're 5'9" and 195 pounds in a physical conference. You'll see it all day today against Purdue. Hart, he looks a lot like Jamie Morris from Michigan. He'll be coming in there, running to the inside, to the outside, and because of his development, what's happened is it has opened things up for Chad Henne. Purdue today will struggle because they can't stop both Braylon Edwards and the running of Michael Hart. So because of that combination and the hangover effect from last week's game against Wisconsin, Michigan goes to West Lafayette and beats Purdue for the second loss in a row for the Boilermakers.
Very good pick, but I'm picking Michigan for a couple other reasons. First of all, it's going to be lousy weather, and that means Michigan's going to win this football game with great play up front, both sides of the ball, with a big lineman. Starting off with number 75, David Voss here, 6'5", 323 pounds. Watch him move. Oh. And now my favorite, Gabe Wilson, number 78, 6'4", 333 pounds. Watch his quickness disturbs Purdue's offense all day in the middle. Now, Purdue has lost to Michigan last 3 times in a row, and I'm going with Michigan because I think Michigan is the best football team all around in the Big Ten.
I hope Tiller's come up with some ways to block that blitz, though, for Michigan.
Last year, remember that?
That was ugly off the corner from everywhere. And you mentioned the weather. It's going to be ugly there.
Yeah. Is led by freshman gunslinger Chad Henne, who has the Wolverines rolling towards another conference crown. But the Boilermakers have a star of their own, and senior captain Kyle Orton just may be the best quarterback in the country. So the stage is set in West Lafayette as the senior veteran takes on the talented freshman. Big Ten title hopes on the line right here on ABC Sports. On an overcast, rainy day in West Lafayette, we welcome you to the BCS Spotlight Game presented by ADT Big Ten Showdown. The standings tell the story. Everybody is chasing Wisconsin. The Badgers have beaten Northwestern today. They sit atop the conference at 5-0. This is virtually a loser-out game because Wisconsin already holds the tiebreaker against Michigan, best overall record. I'm Brent Musburger with Gary Danielson. Gary, tough loss a week ago by Purdue against Wisconsin. Can they rebound here?
Brent, I think they can. I think the most important thing for Purdue, and you're right, it was a tough loss for them. They had the game against Wisconsin, is they get to play Michigan. Joe Tiller's only beaten Michigan once since he's been here at Purdue. They get Purdue's attention. Purdue has not played well against them. I think right after that game, they were able to focus in on this game.
And Michigan is led by the two diaper dandies, Chad Henne and Mike Hart.
It's going to be tough for those two young guys to come in here and play a great game, but there's a lot of other dandies on Michigan's team. I look for the seniors like Marlon Jackson, Braylon Edwards to come through. The seniors and the veterans for Michigan need to help the diaper dandies.
All right. Here come the Boilermakers. Well, Jack Arute, what are the coaches saying about our footing here today?
Well, an all-day rain has ended, Brent, and they say there should be no problem. The footing is excellent. They don't anticipate any change in their game plan. I did get a chance, though, to talk to Kyle Orton. I asked him, what's the key to winning for Purdue today? He said, Jack, I just don't want to get in 3rd and long.
Already, it has been a busy day in college football. Florida under fire at Mississippi State. Wisconsin wins again. Let's get the stage set. Let's send you to New York now. John, Craig, and Aaron. John, take it away.
Sweetie.
Make me feel this way. What a wicked thing to do. To let me dream of you. What a wicked
I love you.
You never felt this way. What a wicked thing to do.
So Michigan will take the football here to start the game, and they'll be moving left to right. Steve Preston, one of the dangerous return men for the Wolverines. Ben Jones has the ball on the tee.
Brent, Preston has been nicked up for a couple games. He's as healthy as he's been in 3 games.
Underway in West Lafayette. They drive him deep into the end zone. He'll take a knee and he'll come out on the 20-yard line. So we will see freshman Chad Henne with 12 touchdown passes and 9 interceptions coming up. And he has weapons galore. Braylon Edwards, number 1. But let's pay attention to number 32, Kevin Dudley. He's got to go against the hammer, the very talented middle linebacker for that Purdue defense, George Hall. He has won the Hammer Award. These are the babysitters. They lead Hart and Henne. David Boss stabilized this offensive line when he moved over to center. He'll snap it here on first down to Chad Henne. Hart set deep. They throw to Braylon Edwards on first down. Hickman, the defender, on him, and no gain as Hickman, number 33, up to make the stop. This Purdue defense, and they'll have their hands full today. And Brent Grover, he's a candidate for the all Big Ten team. Now, we talked about the hammer. He's the middle linebacker in this group, wears number 30, and he goes up against the diaper dandy, Mike Hart. And searching for Braylon will be number 12, Antoine Rogers. He could make the all Big Ten defensive team.
Purdue has come in with their dime package. They don't use it a lot, but against Michigan's 3 receivers, they will use it.
On second and long, short drop by Henne. Second pass is incomplete. And again, there is that dime that Gary spoke about. And Sean Petty, one of the dime defenders, number 24 from Round Rock, Texas, makes the play.
Michigan trying to throw the ball short to get Henne off it a little bit, get off the night. He had a tough start against Illinois last week. They want to establish the wide field and then run the ball later.
Now the safeties come back. Pollard and Smith. They show a too-deep look to Henne. They'll try to confuse him. Joe Taylor told us we just like you to play like a freshman. He hasn't done that much this year. On third and long for Henne and the Wolverines. Henne straight back, looks to the sideline, and it is caught. Very close to the first down marker down there. You see it was spotted on your television screen, what appeared to be just a little bit short. Massacoy, the receiver, and the Wolverines will be forced to punt. Adam Finley back to punt for the first time today. And Jake Cunningham, who took over as the punt return man. And Purdue has been very dangerous blocking kicks. 2 field goals, 2 punts, and that PAT late in the Wisconsin game, which gave them a chance to tie it, but then the field goal attempt was wide right late. Drives the punt. Cunningham back to the 20-yard line. Looks for a wall on the right. The Wolverines, though, penetrated the wall, and Cunningham returns to the 35-yard line. So Kyle Orton, 19 touchdown passes, folks. That leads the country. And as you know, Joe Taylor's offense is to spread the field. He'll also run from the spread. But let's keep an eye on the freshman, number 9. 4.4 speed. They told us they'd like to try to shake and bake him deep today. Dorian Bryant. That means this secondary with the nickel look will be under fire. Marlon Jackson loves a game like this. They've been thrown away from him, but he'll be searching for stubble field on many occasions. And he said, I just want to get my hands on a football today. First down and 10. And indeed, Jackson was on stubble field. And there is the freshman we told you about, Dorian Bryant from Swedesboro, New Jersey, behind this offensive line. David Owen was substituted for last week, became a bit of a disaster, and Purdue said, Joe Tiller told us it will not happen today. And Gabe Watson, he'll be working against Matt Turner, the junior center of Purdue. Matt said, I expect a headache. And Scott McClintock with 2 picks last week in Champaign on first and 10 for Purdue. The toss play, here's Void, run out of bounds at midfield. You know, you think about tough losses, but We asked Joe Tiller, is losing harder on the coaches or the players?
It's most definitely harder on the coaches. You know, the players are young people, and I think they're resilient, and I think they bounce back. And every group I've ever been around, you know, as coaches, we replay the game. Of course, we dissect the game, you know, differently than players do.
So it is second down now for Purdue. They run Void away from it for a first down, breaks free across the 35-yard line, and Ryan Mundy, the free safety, brings him down. So there is the run from the spread. And Gary, in talking to the offensive coordinator, they want run plays like this.
Absolutely, but watch this left side. Watch they cut block. This is what Purdue likes to do. Charles Davis, there it is, the tight end, throwing at the legs of Michigan early. That gets their attention and then keeps that pass rush under control. That's something that Joe Tiller and Jim Chaney, the offensive coordinator, has brought here and done throughout their tenure.
Created a controversy last week. We'll cover that later in the broadcast. First down and 10 after the 18-yard gain. Ball is across the 35-yard line. And again, they stay on the ground with Void. Picks up a couple of yards, and Lawrence Reed, the stop for the Wolverines.
Well, let's take a look at what Purdue has to do. I think they need to spread the ball around. When they beat Illinois with a 38-point game in the Big Ten, 9 different players caught a pass. Michael Hart cannot gain more than about 100 yards. And last year in the Big House, Kyle Orton was sacked 7 times. More than 3 is going to be tough for Purdue to win if he gets more than 3 sacks.
And Leon Hall had 2 interceptions himself against the Boilermakers. That was over before it began. Quick fire, deflected, incomplete. It'll be third down as the ball was deflected by Pat Massey. And there tells you why they like to cut block at the line of scrimmage.
Purdue throws a lot of short passes. It's always been a staple of this offense from Joe Tillers, and you have to get those linemen's hands down to throw those seam routes. Michigan has been playing a lot of zone so far. Wisconsin challenged the Purdue receivers. Let's see if Michigan starts to challenge them.
And again, Jackson goes to the slot receiver.
No safety in the middle of the field. This is when Orton likes to switch up plays, and he did here.
Jackson will take Stubblefield, 21. And Jackson was there. Penalty flag is thrown, interference. That's a fresh set of downs for the Boilermakers.
Marlon Jackson loves to play physical on the receivers, and he got caught on that one. The ball was thrown so quick that he had his hands on Stubblefield.
Pass interference, number 3 of the defense. That's a foul with an automatic first down.
Just outside left, you'll see Stubblefield come in, a quick pass. Orton under pressure on the play, but Marlon Jackson got his hands in the back of Stubblefield just as the ball was thrown.
One of the blessings for Purdue in a situation like this against Lloyd Carr and the Wolverines is the fact that Kyle Orton is a senior. He's better able to shake off the disaster of a week ago. It was his fumble that led to the winning touchdown by the Badgers. And now under center with a fresh set of downs, approaching the red zone, and Void crosses the 20 into the red zone, was bobbling as he went down. Lawrence Reed up to make the stop for the Wolverines on that play.
That's a big play for Purdue right there. Being able to run the ball on first down and gain 4 yards, that'll keep those linebackers tight and keep Shazer, number 25, the great safety for Michigan, close to the line of scrimmage.
Now on second down and 8. Davis flexes off the line. H-back look. And Orton, of course, there shows you his senior leadership as he changes up at the line against this defense. They'll run the toss. Not much daylight. To the 15-yard line goes Void, and Lamar Woodley from Saginaw, Michigan, the sophomore, makes the stop.
I'll tell you who's coming on for Purdue as they enter the red zone right here. Purdue.
You can see that they're in there, and this year 17 touchdowns and 4 field goals, so they're clicking at 84%. Up near the top of the Big Ten, they are third. We'll see what they come up with here on third down. If they fail, of course, they have Jones to attempt the field goal. Ingram is the tall receiver. Play fake back to the middle. Got the first down. Inside the 5-yard line, he comes back, and Charles Davis, the junior from Fraser, Michigan, who has a lot of relatives and folks here from Michigan who come down to watch this game, he picks up first and goal.
Right here, comes up, just a little pop pass. I was just going to say before we did that red zone thing, the guy that's coming on for Purdue's offense is Davis, their tight end. both in blocking and catching the ball. When Purdue is able to establish their tight end, that makes them very difficult to defend.
They flex him way off the line to the right now with Stubblefield and Williams. Field is spread for the quarterback, and he's just short of the goal line is Pat Massey, the senior from Brecksville, Ohio. Saved a touchdown with that grab.
Every play Michigan has called, on defense, every defensive call Michigan has used, Purdue is countered. You have the feeling that Kyle Orton has 2 or 3 plays in mind when he comes to the line of scrimmage and dials up the one that has the best chance.
John Goldsberry checks in as a lead fullback. One-time linebacker here. He'll lead the way now for Boyd. Boyd's got the corner. Touchdown, Purdue. One way to shake off a hangover. Come back on your first series.
So easy here. Purdue running inside, running the quarterback, running the slant, a little play action pass. Goldsby gets a great block to the outside. Goldsberry does get a great block to the outside, and they walk in. Goldsberry, good football player, a fullback at Purdue. When's the last time that happened?
There's Kyle Smith to hold it now for Ben Jones. Brandon Villarreal, the defensive lineman. He's the long snapper. And Jones pounds it through. Boyd with the game's first touchdown. And before a sellout crowd in West Lafayette, Indiana, the Boilermakers continue their chase of Wisconsin. Good leadership. Poise. That describes that drive. And Bruston, Gary, you can see the tape there on the left hand.
He hurt that running it into the turf on a catch and had surgery on it. He's just coming back where he can flex it now. He has a tape so he can flex the hand.
This is out of the end zone, and we had a chance to ask Michigan coach Lloyd Carr about keeping the Wolverines focused.
Our biggest job is to get better, and that means in terms of our practice, in terms of mentally understanding what it takes to get better and what it takes to go on the road and play. We have not been the greatest road team.
Last week they came from behind in Champaign. Their lone loss this year was on the road in South Bend, just up the road at Notre Dame. Now first down and 10 for the freshman. Hart is directly behind him. They went to the air on their first series. Now the draw play with Hart, and Hart gained about 3 yards.
This is really, you have to watch this if you're a football fan right now. Purdue is going to attempt to stop the Michigan running game with no safeties in the box. Only the 4 down linemen and the 3 linebackers. They feel that's the key to the football game. If they don't have to bring their safeties up, they can get back, confuse Henne in the passing game, and still control the running game. You must watch that. That's the story of the football game.
Both safeties have been taken out, but they put a cornerback in deep center field as a single, and Henne is going to fire to Avant, and Avant's tackled by Hickman at the 30-yard line right at the first down marker. I think it's going to be marked for the first down. Here's what has happened, and here's what we know in the Big Ten. Wisconsin by 12 over Northwestern. And folks, that's not the first game of the World Series on the right. That is correct. Iowa 6, Penn State 4, 2 safeties. And the Buckeyes with their first Big Ten. It's now final 37. They win it.
Boy, if Iowa just could have got the ball one more time, Penn State could have got a safety and one more kick.
First down and 10, and here is Henne on the handoff to Hart. Hart slashes. And he is out of bounds at the 37 with Bernard Pollard back on the field. You'll see 31 and 7. The 2 safeties coming in and out off the field. Now what's happening here is Ann Arbor tattered and torn. They said they were confused by the Michigan defense. Well, here today, they're attempting to return the favor to a freshman quarterback. They're trying to keep him off balance, showing things that he might not have seen throughout the course of the season. Pollard is back deep now. He's in, and he's also a very good tackler. Second down against Henne and the Wolverines. Here's that draw look. Hart, great vision for a first down for Michigan, and Pollard makes the stop.
If you're Terry Malone, you like what you've been able to do, run the ball against the 7-man front. Let's look. Keys for Michigan in this football game. Edwards must be established. Force Purdue to put 2 guys on them wide. wide all the time in the game. Win third downs, both on offense and defense. They must control third down in this game. And Purdue loves to catch the ball and run after the catch. Michigan can allow some catches for Purdue, but they must tackle well in the secondary.
Ecker and Massacoy, the double tight end look. Dudley, the fullback, steps it over to the left. Play fake, and Henne's got the middle wide open. Here it comes. He had that play read, and Tyler Ecker is inside the 30-yard line for the Wolverines. That's 29 yards on the game, and they were attacking dead center field, Gary.
Look at why. Here's Braylon Edwards, number 1, right here. Here's one guy. Here's two guys over here. Now, look at that's an advantage to bring your tight end down the middle like that or run the ball. That's why you have to establish Braylon Edwards, and it brings the tight end wide open versus that defense for Purdue.
For defensive coordinator Brock Spack, respect for Chad Henne. First down and 10. Here's Hart. And the linebackers greet him at the 25-yard line. We check in down below with Jack.
Well, Brent, as you look at the freshman Michael Hart, he may look reminiscent, at least the coaches say, to a guy that used to play for Michigan, number 23, Jamie Morris. They're built just about the same. As you watch Morris's running style here, the great Michigan running back, a former NFLer, you see a lot of similarities, don't you?
I certainly do. Hart really showed us something last week, Jack. 40 carries, 234 yards, back-to-back Michigan freshman rushing records. Truly something. Second down, set the screen, and it's wide open. Hart is inside the 10 for the goal line, reaches across, and they say he's down. They say he's down on the 1-yard line. It was close. Remember, we use review. The technical advisor, Gene Carabine, upstairs. He'll take one more look to make absolutely certain that the knee was down. Hart signaling, I want the touchdown. Officials say knee is down. Now you take another look at it, just like Carabine upstairs in the booth.
Michigan loves to draw and loves to screen from spread out formations. Let's see if he stretches the ball across as his knee comes down. Boy, that looked like a touchdown to me.
I thought he might have been down, but
I thought if anything, it was not his knee. It maybe his butt was down on the play.
It's so close. That,
and they're going to get buzzed. They are going to get buzzed.
It's being reviewed.
Jason Avant got a good play on it. Watch him spin here. I don't think it was either one of his knees that hit the ground, and he falls across the player. You know, from that angle, you know, who knows, but it looks to me like he got that ball stretched across. What a call, though, by Michigan on this play.
Last week, a touchdown against Illinois was reviewed, and it was given. It was called on the field a touchdown, and it stayed a touchdown as the knee was down on a body. This one is so difficult. And we will give you a look last week in Champaign. Remember now, this was called a touchdown. Dave Perry, the head of officials, said it was a great call, and it showed how well replay can work as he kept driving. He would never stop, and that was a touchdown. This is a little bit kind of a different look here.
Correct, because this one's called not a touchdown, so it has to be indisputably not a touchdown to reverse it. So very close either way.
Even if it stays
absolutely
down on the
I wouldn't throw
it's
a fit
first
either way.
and goal. Exactly. I don't.
Video evidence that the player, in fact, did break the plane of the goal.
There's your touchdown. That's all they can ask for. Just get it right. And I think Joe Tiller has said it. We back instant replay all the way. It has nothing to do with individual calls for or against. Lloyd Carr, I think he would certainly agree with it. And that is a 25-yard touchdown. And this is some diaper dandy from Syracuse, New York, Michael Hart. And on is Garrett Rivas. Now, he has not been automatic attempting extra points. He's missed 4 already this season. That one's dead perfect. Michigan bounces back. This is going to be a dandy. ABC Sports presentation of college football is brought to you by the Hartford Mutual Funds, official corporate partner of the NCAA. Jeep, trail-rated capability only at a Jeep 4x4. Miller, there's good enough and there's better than it has to be. Miller, good call. Valvoline Max Life will remind you at 75,000 miles, time to switch to Max Life. And AOL for broadband, proud sponsor of First and 10. Deadlocked at 7. Purdue to get the ball for the second time here today. And Troy Nienberg, the fifth-year player out of Glandorf, Ohio, with the ball on the tee for the Wolverines.
This is a great chess match so far in this football game. Chad Henne, that was the key for Michigan, getting him off early. He's 5 for 6. A lot of short passes and with formations.
Brooks and Void are back deep. This is Brooks running up at the 13-yard line, working the sideline, and battles out to the 23-yard line. A reminder now, 9 Eastern, Monday Night Football. Now, when you look at this one on paper, Broncos, Bengals, you say, oh, give me a break. What a terrible matchup. I mean, look at Cincinnati, 1-4. Denver, 5. Folks, let me tell you something. This is the classic case of the Monday night home underdog. Be there. I'm telling you right now, the Bengals are going to play a prideful game. Gary Danielson agrees with me. He says, watch out for Cincinnati. All right. First down and 10. Here comes.
Usually I take those handoffs real well, too.
I know. Rolling deep down to the right. In a foot race, Orton's just going to keep it and step out of bounds. So we're at the top of the hour, and rained hard here in West Lafayette earlier today, but the rain has stopped. We have had 2 touchdowns. Purdue on a great drive with Boyd catching the corner to tie it, and then instant replay conceding that freshman Hart had broken the plane before his knee was down. Touchdown, Wolverines. Second down now as Orton and the Boilers come up to the line. 4 down linemen look for the Wolverines. Remember, their base this year had been the 3-4, but they switched now to 4 down linemen. And Orton firing complete to his tight end for a first down at the 35. And John Saunders, update me on Mississippi State, Florida. What happened in that wild one?
Brent, the Taco Bell update, you're about to see some history. Jarius Norwood takes off on his 37-yard touchdown run, his second of the day, as Mississippi State upsets Florida. Sylvester Croom gets his first SEC victory, and a 9-game streak comes to an end.
That is shocking. Remember, John, Mississippi State lost to Maine down in Starkville earlier this season. Now they pick off the heavily favored Gators at Mississippi State. Congratulations to Coach Groom and those players. Boyd has run out of bounds. And let me be the first to promote this rumor in the Midwest. Since Rick Neuheisel was cleared this week, he is going to become a candidate down in Florida. Write it down. Neuheisel is going to be back as a head coach, and that's one of the programs that will be very interested in him down there in Gainesville. Now our performance track, Gary.
It's going to be Marlon Jackson. He does a lot of things from the corner and the slot position. He blitzes, how many tackles, how many times he gets thrown at. There's a stat that he hasn't been thrown at only 10% of the time in the passing game this year.
From the shotgun. Hit on the release, incomplete. Tremendous, that's too good a coverage again. The second pass interference call on Marlon Jackson here today. And it was very, very close, folks. Let's take a second look at this one.
He swings his left arm across, but let's see if he holds on with his right arm while the ball's in the air. Marlon Jackson has to not be that physical.
Pass interference, number 3 of defense. That's a spot foul and an automatic first down.
Gets him on the face mask. Now watch his right hand. See his right hand on the hip. He spins him with his right hand and goes across with his left hand. They're going to call that, Marlon.
As a result, the ball comes to the 44-yard line, where it'll be first down for the Boilermakers. They'll get it spotted actually on the 41-yard line. Now they'll get the chains set.
Joe Tiller told us that Stubblefield was very upset with the way he played last week and expected him to have a big game against Michigan.
Leon Hall is on the freshman. They run to the left side, and Void brought down by Reed. Well, Marlon Jackson, you know, we asked him, how do you test receivers early in a game? Here's what he said.
When I throw my hands out there, when I'm in front of him, I throw my hands to Jim. Can he smack my hands away? If not, if he can't smack my hand away, I'm just going to jam him all day. Then if he's good with his hands, you know, I won't go with my hands as much.
The problem is Purdue throws the ball so quickly that when he has his hands on him, the ball's in the air. It's going to be interference.
Second down. Inside handoff. Void slips, keeps coming, crosses the 45 to the 46-yard line, and Shazer. He is the leading tackler on this Wolverine team, number 25, but because it's such a wide open passing game, we'll have to see how many tackles he actually makes here today. The Purdue coaches told us that he's a very good pass defender. Also, he's a coverage man back there at safety, and he has been one of the MVPs of the Michigan defense this year. Third down.
Look at this. Purdue keeping a tight end in the game. This is new. Davis is coming on.
Incomplete, dropped. Had the first down, might have thrown just a little bit behind Kyle Ingram, and the 6'9" receiver couldn't make it. Here's our Chrysler passing playbook.
Part of the passing game for Purdue is just counting. When you have man-to-man on your 5 wide receivers and both safeties split, that means there's only 4 guys in the box. 5 on 4 with the quarterback, 5 guys blocking, 1 guy running. That's part of the pass offense for Purdue. They count and go against.
All right, here's Dave Bridus. He's a fine freshman punter from McDonald, Pennsylvania. Preston will let it go and on into the end zone. It'll come out on the 20-yard line. That's a 53-yard punt. He would have settled for a 43-yard punt right there, and it'll come out on the 20. At Henny pass or run. Interact on Enhanced TV now at ESPN.com. First down and 10 from the 20-yard line. And he has Hart directly behind it. They will run on first down and gain a yard as Hall, the hammer, lowers the boom after 1 yard. But that is the freshman rushing record for Mike Hart. And he broke the mark established 1990 by Ricky Powers. Powers rushed for 748 yards as a freshman back in 1990, and now midway into this season, Mike Hart has smashed that record. What a future he has in front of him. Ricky Powers and Jamie Morris have been left behind. 2nd and 10. Edwards is the motion receiver. Offensive line under pressure. Henney going down, throws it incomplete for a crossing Edwards. And Henney under pressure. What'd you think of his decision there?
Well, he had to get rid of that football. He did avoid a sack. He got away with it there. But George Hall, the middle linebacker, as Brock's back, is the master in college football. I think Mike Stoops, who was at Oklahoma and now at Arizona, and Brock Spack, the defensive coordinator for Purdue, are the 2 guys that believe in the zone blitz more than anyone in college football. You will see linebackers and safeties coming all day with zone coverage behind it. It'll be very difficult for Chad Henne.
Jermaine Gonzalez checks in as one of the 4 wide on 3rd and 9, and they'll try to run for it, and they're not going to get it this time. Hart is cut down at the 24-yard line, and the Wolverines are forced to punt, but there is a penalty flag thrown on the play, so hold on.
I was wondering if Purdue was lined up in the neutral zone that time.
Well, the line judge threw it over here on that side.
Offside.
That's exactly what it
Number
is.
10 on the defense. Lined up in the neutral zone. That's a 5-yard penalty. Repeat. 3rd down.
You could see it. It looked a little cockeyed. Ray Edwards that time was lined up just, he's the big pass rusher. He's got 5 sacks for Purdue this year. And he's just kind of, his head has to be behind that ball right there, and I think that's a good call. That changes it. Now it's 3rd and 4 instead of 3rd and long.
3rd down. Breaston splits out to the left. Now they've got Rogers matched up against Edwards. Henne looking away. Got good blocking and puts it in Avant's hands for the first down. What a cool customer Chad Henne is. And tonight, ESPN with a couple of good college football games coming your way. Georgia, Arkansas on ESPN2 at 7 Eastern or 6 here in the Midwest. And then how about Miami and NC State? Miami jumps up. They're now number 2 in the BCS, but they must continue winning to hold on to that market. Even then, they might not be able to hold off Oklahoma when you look at the schedule ahead, but we shall see. Still a lot of things to unfold. First down for Henne and the Wolverines here, deadlocked at 7. Offensive line gave him plenty of time. The throw underneath is for 3 yards as he puts it in Hart's hands, and the defender is George Hall. So the middle linebacker from Connecticut, number 30, he is sticking with the diaper dandy.
I said that I thought Chad Henne would be the most improved player in the Big Ten by the end of the year. Watch his action right here. Taught so well. He keeps his feet moving, but he doesn't shuffle up too far and is able to deliver that ball to his secondary receiver on that play. He's coming on. He's better, and Michigan is using him so smart. 3rd and long, they don't put him in bad situation. 3rd and medium, they let him throw.
2nd down for Henne and the Wolverines. Here is Hart. 2nd effort, but still could not squeeze out a 1st down. And we talked to Chad Henne about being a leader as a freshman.
You just got to try to go into that huddle and just say, hey, this is the time that we need to score, and just show by actions. I mean, go out there and play with your actions and make plays. And then that's when they start believing in you. That's when you can start being a leader to them.
Youngster was a javelin thrower and a wrestler growing up. Max Martin, the freshman runner from Alabama, checks in. You can watch Henne's eyes. He calmly studies the defense. Massaquoi moves in behind him with an H-back look. And Martin straight ahead for the 1st down. And 2 outstanding freshman running backs. Let's check in with Jack.
Well, Brent, you talked about it. Chad Henne can hurl it both on the gridiron and track and field. Blue chip quarterback, outstanding at Wilson High in Pennsylvania, throwing the javelin. In fact, his best career throw, how about 195.5 feet?
Well, he is something, Jack. Jack, I'll tell you, and Gary, I know Gary remembers, and you do too, Jack, that the last great javelin thrower I remember as a quarterback was Terry Bradshaw coming out of Louisiana. He could really fire that javelin, and Henne's strong. He's going to be something. Max Martin stays in as a running back. Dudley the fullback. There's that 3-step and right through the 5 pocket. Braylon Edwards couldn't get a grip on it.
Purdue continues to run a safety over the top on this play. Watch. Real late. Smith comes out. That means this guy doesn't have to back up on the top, Rogers, and it's a tough play. Even if it's caught, it's going nowhere. That's a misread and a bad throw on the same play.
Hart back. Braylon will go out to the left.
Must establish these 2 tight ends for Michigan. Where's the little bootlegs that get these 2 tight ends, Ecker and Massaquoi, in the game?
Play fake, waits for him to clear. Almost intercepted at the 35-yard line. Antoine Rogers let one get away.
Well, Henne fired it in there, and Antoine Rogers, the 4-year veteran starter, drops an easy one.
And last week, a nightmare. Wisconsin was driving. Purdue with the lead. The put away. And young Kyle Smith, who has very good hands, could not hold on. Now we've had a drop here, and that gives Michigan a 3rd down.
Not only very good hands by Kyle Smith, he's the holder on the field goals and extra points, an ex-quarterback. You expect him to make that interception.
Third down, here comes the blitz, picked up by the offensive line. Got one-on-one, goes deep and incomplete. And Edwards' helmet comes off inside the 5-yard line. Step for step was Brian Hickman, junior from Houston. Gary, I'm very impressed watching Hickman here in the early going.
Hickman doesn't have great speed, but he's very fluid. Look at his turn his hips. And now this ball, he knows he's in trouble, but he closes it to the outside. And Braylon Edwards almost came up with another one. Yeah, almost got another one.
Had a step, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, that's good coverage. A step 40 yards downfield is good coverage.
Here's Adam Finley. Cunningham back to return again. Not a good punt. But a Michigan bounce, and they'll take it. Down on the 18-yard line. So, John, some other big games going on. What's up now with Wake Forest?
Well, Brent, the Verizon Wireless update. Florida State facing Wake Forest. Scoreless game. Wyatt Sexton hasn't made too many mistakes as quarterback, but he does there. Matt Robinson steps in front of it and takes it to the 19 yards for a touchdown. And the Demon Peaks, 0-3 in the ACC, lead 7-0.
It looks like their pass defense doing a pretty good job against young Sexton, only 3 of 10. Huh, John? 1st down and 10. Orton and Purdue with 2 minutes left here in the opening quarter. We're deadlocked at 7. Orton with all day still couldn't find a clearing receiver. Now on the move, throws it away. Well, let's take a closer look at senior quarterback Kyle Orton.
My favorite food is mashed potatoes. My mom makes the best ones back home. The music that gets me fired up before a game is the Doors. My favorite pro sports team is the Boston Red Sox because they just beat the evil empire.
Oh, Kyle, you just gave up the whole Heisman vote in New York. How could you do that, my friend? What a 7-game dramatic series. Of course, the World Series in Fenway Park tonight. Brandon Jones in as the running back. Got about a yard out of that one. We check in with Jack.
Well, Brent, Kyle Orton lives in an apartment that's over a little venue that's called the Chocolate Shop. And I asked him exactly what the chocolate shop was, and he said, well, they don't sell chocolates there. In fact, it's maybe 70 to 80 to 90 proof. He says, but it's easier when my parents see the charge cards and they say, gee, isn't that nice? Kyle's been buying chocolates for his girlfriend.
My kind of quarterback, Jack.
We saw him Thursday night buying dinner for his linemen, didn't we?
Yes, we did. We were at Bruno's, and that's a ritual. And great pizza here, close to the campus. And there they were, the quarterback and the offensive line, and now firing, and did not get the interference call that time. He was looking for it. Grant Mason, the senior from Pontiac, was ruled to have good coverage on Brian Hare.
See, I think the matchups that Michigan likes every matchup they've got. They think their defensive backs can run faster than the Purdue receivers. And they feel Grant Mason did it, but there it again, that hand on one hip and the swing with the other, usually that gets called.
Joe Tiller, watching the big scoreboard, saw a replay. That was the crowd's reaction. Breston bobbles it, perhaps with the injured hand being a factor. Picks it up now, looks for the middle, and he is back to the 45-yard line. But both Tiller and the crowd objected vehemently to the non-call on that coverage, and Tiller may be looking for one of those nasty zebras right now. There
Especially
is
after
the
last
big
week.
replay board over here on the left-hand side, and the crowd still expressing its keen disappointment.
And Joe Tiller was upset probably because of what happened at Wisconsin here against Wisconsin last week. He felt there were 8 holding penalties in the secondary that could have been called. They didn't get any, and that's why he's working those officials early.
An old Bobcat, defensive and offensive lineman from Montana State in Bozeman, Montana. He's done a sensational job of solidifying and rebuilding the Purdue football program. Timeout.
The Kyle Orton News.
Understandably so, Jack. First down and 10 for Chad Henne and the Wolverines. Coming out from their own 43-yard line. Here's Hart stepping off to the right. Not much daylight there that time, and Purdue's doing a good job of gang tackling. Smith is up to help Kegler on that stop.
This is really the story of the game. Michigan wants to see, because of the secondary for Purdue, if they can run the ball. So far, that Purdue front 7 is held in there. Remember, this is a team that only had 3 starters on defense returning. A bunch of them go to the NFL off Purdue's last defense last year.
Looking at the wristband after the number was brought into him from the sideline. 2nd and 10. Edwards in motion, trying to get some daylight. Henne looking backside for the screen, and Hart not going to get away from Brent Grover, the junior from Fort Thomas, Kentucky. That's a loss of 7 yards on the sack. Good job.
Michael Hart should go underneath the defensive tackle on it. He went right across his face, and it was an easy read for Grover.
End of the first quarter in West Lafayette. A Big Ten showdown between Michigan and Purdue, both chasing Wisconsin. We're tied at 7.
Nothing fancy for Michigan here. If they throw the ball, they'll throw it very deep. They're not going to chance an interception with a freshman quarterback this side of the field.
The Red Hat was having difficulty hearing there for a moment. That was our stage wait. He now clears. Henne under pressure is sacked again. So a beautiful defensive move by Rob Ninkovich, the junior from New Lenox, Illinois, as he comes in on Chad.
This is Purdue's posse pass rush. Ninkovich comes in at the end. They move the 2 ends down into the tackle spots. That's why you had different personnel, more speed in 3rd and long for Purdue's defense.
Finley's back. And remember that graphic we had very early in the broadcast. Purdue is tough against kicks. This time they set a return. And Cunningham shakes free.
They called his knee down as he trapped the ball there.
Well, as Gary frequently says, it is indeed the little things.
You know, let's talk about catching the ball. Purdue's had trouble the last couple games against Michigan drop balls. Go back to the basics. Thumbs and pinkies is the rule. Watch this. Above the waist, thumbs together, put that ball right in there, easy to catch. Below the waist, pinkies together, easy to catch. One more little thing. If the guy's holding on you, flag.
Indeed. Yeah, that's just some of the little things. First down and 10 for Orton and the Boilermakers. We're deadlocked at 7, just underway here in the second quarter. Ray Williams comes back towards the tackle. Orton hits Williams, who's crushed at the 25-yard line by Marlon Jackson. This is Jackson's kind of game. For most of the season, Gary, they have thrown away from him. He was a little overzealous in the first quarter. He couldn't wait to get his hands on receivers like Williams.
Yards after catch. It was been preached all week by the Michigan defensive backs. Yes, Purdue's going to get some balls. They're going to catch some passes. But let's hit those guys after they catch it. And Marlon Jackson, who played strong safety a year ago, has shown you why Michigan was tempted to move him to strong safety. He's a very physical corner.
The junior from Scotch Plains, New Jersey, is up, coming over to the sideline. He'll shake the cobwebs, and he'll be back. It'll be second down.
You really hate if you're a receiver to let that hit and lay there and not get up and kind of just stumble off. Remember the old Steve Largent when he used to get lit up? He would always find his way to the sideline. He never wanted to let that other team know that they forced him to bring a timeout on the play.
Ingram's off to the left. Taylor Stubblefield is off to the right, and he's been quiet. Number 21. Jackson is taking him, moving to the cornerback spot, and Boyd is ahead. The Purdue coaches told us, or check that was Brandon Jones in as the running back. The Purdue coaches told us they expected Jackson to jump on 21. And that time, they moved him away from the slot all the way over to 21 on the left corner position. So Jackson's taking a crack.
Watch big Gabe Watson inside, disrupting. He actually made that tackle with his foot on that play. That disruption in the middle is what makes this Michigan defense so tough. He's very hard to handle one man.
Now Stubblefield in a slot on the right side of the offensive formation, down toward the bottom of your screen, and that is Jackson. They cut off a pick, and incomplete as Stubblefield got hit in traffic, but it was a beautifully designed play, and it got 21. Daylight early, but not late.
Boy, Ryan Mundry, the safety that time, was sitting on the play. Michigan and Jimmy Herman, the defensive coordinator, has adjusted. He saw the pick play. He's playing man underneath with two safeties, and Mundry, number 21, was right there to light it up.
Breitis, the freshman punter, standing inside the 15, left-footed, hangs it high under a little bit of heat. Here is Breston, and he'll let this one roll. Takes a Purdue bounce, and it'll be down on the 33-yard line. But we'll take a break from West Lafayette, Michigan, and Purdue, all square. Last couple of years, Orton has struggled against the Michigan defense. You can see he's also been plagued by drop balls. And here today, Gary, only 34 yards passing.
Yeah, the Purdue offense has struggled, not just Orton, because the Michigan defensive backs do not feel threatened by the speed. Oh, look, the diamond formation here by Michigan.
Both tight ends are over there with two wideouts, 5 defensive players. Now Rogers will stick with the running back. Deflected in the air. Oh, man. Edwards makes the catch, and then it goes down. He is down at the 38-yard line. Can you believe that he came up with it? It looked like Jim Edmonds going after a ball over his head that time. What a grab.
This is the third different play that Michigan has run out of this diamond. They've run the quick screen, they've run the sweep, and now this. Now watch it. Braylon Edwards might be the best high ball catcher in college football. He just takes that ball away, goes down, and clearly that was after. What a play. Holy cow.
Second and 10. That is some pair of hands. Rogers showing blitz off the corner. They smelled run. Hart beat him, but he is down at the 42-yard line as the defensive back Antoine Rogers was coming off the corner that time.
Another one of those. I watched practice Thursday, Brent, and I saw Purdue practice about 10 different zone blitzes in practice against the, you put the trash cans up and they just go through different holes. They have everything in the game plan for Michigan.
Torrey Williams, a freshman free safety, checks in deep center field on third down. Henney's going to throw for it. Got the first down. Comes back to the tight end, the big fella Tyler Eckert. Checked that it was Massacoy that time, number 88, who made the catch.
Well, that was a great read by Chad Henne because that was a bust by Purdue. They blew the coverage, and Chad Henne found the one guy that was wide open. Massacoy's down here. He just goes out, clear, and you got Edwards coming across. Watch this. Edwards in the middle gets coverage, but nobody covers the tight end. Easy throw, great read by Chad Henne.
Ball is inside the 35-yard line. And there's a trick play. The hand is to Hart. Hart's going to come to the left-hand side. They lined him up just behind the guard, and they stuck the ball underneath his legs back to the running back number 20. Al Royal, a Florida linebacker, a sophomore, jumped on the play. So the trick play gained about 3 yards.
There's the guy that's going to get the ball eventually. Everybody else is going to go this way, but watch Purdue's defense react to the play. Watch Purdue. They do not go for the trick. Snap it. Avon puts it to Hart. Look at that Purdue defense. Read the blocks. Nowhere to go. That's great defense.
2nd and 8. Back in a more conventional formation. Hand to Hart. Slashes behind the right side, breaks that first tackle. Hickman trying to hog time. He's inside the 20, and it's a Michigan first down. Now, speaking of good runners, who is the only Purdue quarterback? They had so many great quarterbacks come through, all the Famers and everything like that. Who's the only one to run for 200 yards now in a single game? Do we go back to Lenny Dawson, Jim Everett, Bob Creasy? I mean, who in the world could have possibly run for 200 yards in a single game? First down and 10. And he takes a look at the defensive set. Got what he wants. Crushed by George Hall.
That is a collision by the hammer right there.
And we asked George Hall about the personality of this Purdue defense.
Everybody on our defense is basically just, real into the game. We're real young, and we're just real energetic and just, like to get out there every week and prove people wrong. Because in the beginning of the year, they had us and they didn't think our defense was going to be anything.
Well, the hammer was lowered that time, wasn't it?
Braylon Edwards in the slot this time, right here. Looks like one man-to-man coverage on him.
2nd and 9. And he's looking in that direction. Looks for him to clear. Got to go to the underneath man. Incomplete. It was Avant was coming in underneath on the play, and he missed connecting with Avant.
Chad Henne will learn to take something off of this throw. When you got a receiver coming across that quick, all he had to do was put that ball in front of him, and he could have had an easy completion, and Avon could have just ran down to about the 5-yard line.
Down to 3rd down, and as you can see, Michigan only 7th in the Big Ten in the red zone. I would expect that statistic to improve through the years with Chad Henne.
Absolutely. Freshman quarterback and a freshman tailback. That's why that number's down a bit.
3rd and 9. They must get inside the 10 for a first down and timeout. The clock was running down. Henne saw it. He'll take a timeout and go over to Lloyd Carr's sideline. Mark right there inside the 10-yard line. You can see it. 3rd down. Edwards off to his left and now starts in a little bit of motion back towards Avant. They send it back out. And Henne on the run fires, and Braylon Edwards crossing the field is short of the first down. So Rivas will trot onto the field here to attempt the field goal. And you can see what he is inside of the 20-yard line. He's 7 of 8, and from the 20 to the 40, he is 12 of 18. The line of scrimmage is about the 13-yard line. So this will be a 30-yard field goal attempt for Garrett Rivas out of Tampa, Florida. This for the lead. On the right hash. Got it. They're not pretty sometimes.
That was ugly, wasn't it? That was ugly. But it's good. Easy snap.
Got it spun right, too, didn't he? One of Gary's little things. 10-7. Summary. 4 running plays, 4 passing plays, and then the field goal. It took almost 4 minutes, 8:56 to go here in the half. Michigan 10, Purdue 7, and that's the Wolverines' first lead of the game. Nienberg pounds it into the end zone. It'll come out on the 20-yard line. Well, we ask you now, who's the only Purdue quarterback to rush for 200 yards in a single game? Folks, it's the man standing right next to me. Here he is, 213 yards. Why didn't he hand it to Otis Armstrong? Because the corner was open. And my man, number 18, before Kyle Orton took it on in for the score. 213. Man, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. We lost the game, though, I hate to tell you.
Oh, you didn't have to ruin my...
Oh, I was waiting for the other shoe to drop somewhere there.
You thought we were going to... No. First down and 10 for Orton and the Boilermakers. From the gun on first down, fired behind the freshman receiver that time, Dorian Bryant.
You know, Brent, I chatted with Jim Chaney, the great offensive coordinator for Purdue, and I said, what are you going to do against these guys? They really bottled you up last year. 230 yards, you know, so far this game. Look, they're just offense hasn't got off except for the first drive. He says, we got to mix it up. I said, throw the ball. Throw it 70 times against these guys. He said, nope, we have to stay balanced.
Alan Branch checks in at defensive end for the Wolverines. Norton with his offensive line, giving him time on a quick hitch and another drop ball, and that's Ingram coming in from the left side. Here's the average starting position, Gary.
Well, Purdue got off to such a bang. They've been scoring anywhere they got the ball on the field. But you can see, as they get that ball closer, they kind of gradually get better. And look at that. 80% when they get that ball in there, 3 touchdowns and a field goal. So one time they didn't score. Drop balls again. Boy, you'd never thought. Joe Tiller said it's got to be over. Every time we play these guys, we drop passes.
And Orton and the Boilermakers are 1 of 4 on third down. This third and long, and Boyd slips, and they are forced to punt again. So Dave Brightus checks in. The crowd wanted the ball in the air that time. Thus the reaction here from the sellout crowd as the skies begin to clear a little bit. Hard rain fell on this area earlier today. Stopped before the kickoff, and we've only had a couple of fellows slip. Boyd that time trying to cut into the hole, and now Michigan will get it back with about 8:20 to go. Preston is the return man. Brightus has not been booming. This is going to be great field position for the Wolverines. Won't even get to midfield.
Wow. The Michigan defensive backs are going to go back and tell Jim Herman and the Purdue coaches, we can cover these guys. We're not worried. We've got them. We may get a couple penalties, but we feel we can stick with them. They got great confidence on the Michigan bench.
Coming up this week on Monday Night Football.
That's pretty good. I have to give somebody credit for that, whoever thought it up. It's pretty good, seeing the guys' personalities.
The Wolverines working against the Purdue defense. Innie, a great time. Comes in underneath the fullback Dudley, who slips at the 46-yard line. Picked up about 3 yards on that. It's Kevin Dudley.
Look at that protection from the Michigan line that time. Chad Henne looked deep. He looked intermediate, and he threw short. Boy, when you're a quarterback and you're able to go deep, take a look, no, and then come back short, you know you're getting good protection.
They've given up 1 sack today, or 19 for the season, but they seem to be improving as the season rolls along. Stenovich, Riley, Boss, Lentz, and Long up to the line. 2nd and 7. Here's the corner blitz. They run away from it that time. Hart to daylight. First down, Michigan at the 35-yard line. Kyle Smith, the safety, with the stop.
Football 101 for Michigan right now. They're just running the power. Oh, they pull the guard around. Reuben Riley, number 72, is the newest starter in this offensive line. He needs to get turned real tight and block somebody. That time Michael Hart ran right over number 72. As Riley gains experience, he'll find somebody, and that play should have been for bigger yards.
Hart with 54 yards here in the opening quarter. Bangs in for a couple more into the arms of George Hall. We check in with Jack.
Well, Brett, one of the problems Michigan was suffering early in the season was a case of fumbleitis. A lot of conversations with Lloyd Carr. Over the course of the last 2 weeks, these are the footballs that the skill position players have been playing with. A silk covering makes it harder to grip. See, Gary, you may have a ball that knows whether thumbs up or pinkies up, but when you got to be a player and a skill position player, you got to hold on to the silk.
You don't play if you don't hold on to the ball.
Second down.
Nice little gadget, isn't it?
It is.
Yep.
Braylon Edwards is off to the right. Henny's looking for him to clear. And picked off by number 12, Antoine Rogers, the senior from Middletown, Ohio.
Chad Henne never took his eye off the crossing route, and Antoine Rogers, the veteran, the 4-year starter, saw Henne looking all the way and just came underneath that ball to pick up. He actually was covering the other guy and came back to pick it. Watch Rogers covering this guy, and he comes back to get the other one, covering Avant, and picks off the pass to Edwards.
Edwards ran right into traffic that time as he was clearing right to left.
Yeah, he had Edwards open for a long time, but he bird dogged him too long.
Now Orton, who is only 4 of 11 for 34 yards passing here in the first half. And Joe Tiller goes back, and there is a face mask, yellow flags flying all over the place. Of course, it reminds us last week, and there was a terrific photo of it on gold and black, of a possible face mask infraction on the fumble by Orton that led to the Wisconsin win. But according again to Dave Perry, hand was raked across the face mask. I know the still photo makes it look like the fingers are wrapped around it, but Perry said from the game film there was no penalty. This time there was no doubt about it. As we go back now and show you this, Orton had the first down, switches hands, doesn't cover it up with both arms, Starks scoops it up and goes 40 yards for what right now is the biggest single play in the Big Ten this season.
Yeah, because right now Wisconsin's in the driver's seat. For Purdue to get there to win the championship, Wisconsin has to lose twice.
Orton's back in that gun again with a first down at the 40-yard line. 6:05 to go in the opening half. His 3 wideouts are over to the left. Jackson has been all over Stubblefield, and now he is 4 of 12. Well, this Sunday, the best new show, #1, Desperate Housewives, Sunday at 9 Eastern. Gary, what's your feeling about Desperate Housewives?
Funny, pleasant to the eyes, and Mrs. D lets me watch it. Can't get better than that.
Must be pretty good, huh? All right. Thank you, Mrs. D. The running quarterback loves you for that. Second down and 10 now. And Orton's back in the shotgun. Here's Boyd. He slips. He's having more traction than anybody.
Yes. And it's their field. You know, Purdue, they don't practice out here, but this is their turf, and they're slipping all day.
Let's go down below to Jack.
Well, Brent, one of the concerns that Purdue coaches had with this field was the fact that between the hash marks could get chewed up. As I look at it right now, and the field is starting to get cut up a little bit here between the hash marks.
All right, Jack, we'll keep an eye on that. Third down. Orton again from the gun. Michigan's secondary is doing a great job juggling the ball all the way. He puts it down, allowing the pass rush to get in that time. Lamar Woodley had climbed all over him. The referee trying to sort this one out.
Lamar Woodley didn't start this football game, but he might be the best pass rusher of the front for Michigan, and he beat Mike Otto.
There's the signal that Purdue has it with a 4th down.
Right
Matt
there.
Turner, the center, will recover this fumble.
Watch Lamar Woodley get around Mike Otto, the sophomore who started a year ago as a freshman, and Woodley comes in, and that's another big play for this Michigan defense. Matching up all over the field. Orton really doesn't have anyone to throw to on 3rd and long. Again, I believe Purdue needs to throw the ball more and loosen up that Michigan defense before they run.
It's hard to throw, though, Gary. They can't get anybody open.
Well, they're
that
not running at all.
Secondary is fabulous here from Michigan. There's a punt hanging up in the breeze, isn't it? Weston up to make the catch at the 40-yard line, and that's where Michigan will put it in play. Purdue struck first in this game. Michigan answered with 10 points, and now they're up. Timeout. Remodeled Ross-Ade Stadium did a fabulous job down here. And the Wolverines with a 1st and 10 on their own 40-yard line. 5 minutes to go in the first half. Freshman Chad Henne under center. Hands off to freshman Mike Hart, who bangs off that first tackle. So hard for the first person to bring him down. And we check, Gary, the Pacific Life game summary.
Great first drive by Purdue. They were able to mix it up. I think Michigan was playing a little bit too much zone, and then Michigan comes right back with the screen pass. They're a very good screen game because of the great speed they have at wide receiver.
Later added a Revis 30-yard field goal, and thus 10-7. 2nd and 8. Henne looking to Edwards, has him underneath Rogers that time, and Pollard, the safety, makes the stop, and I believe Edwards reached out very close to that first down, didn't he? Was the nose touching the yellow there?
I think it's going to be short.
Okay.
I thought Edwards had it very easy, and he tried to make a big play out of a first down play. They're still arguing about where the ball is spot. The linesman on the... Oh, they moved it up. They moved it up. First down. Man, oh man. And it was the linesman on the Michigan bench side that ran in and made the change.
Much more comfortable his life over there. He goes back.
Exactly.
Lloyd says, great call. Nice job.
Watch the catch. If he turns up, he gets the first down. He tries to make a big play out of it by going outside. He gets tackled and then reaches it out. Now,
so Henne with a fresh set of downs at midfield. Plenty of time. Here is Hart, and a penalty flag. The linesman on the other side throws the yellow this time.
On the Purdue bench side.
So it's time for Joe Tiller to applaud a holding call.
Holding, number 32, offense. 10-yard penalty, previous spot, repeat, first down.
That's an interesting call because Kevin Dudley put his man right on his back on this play. Watch, right to the outside, he gets Rogers, knocks him down.
Has his arm around him, Gary, around the waist, doesn't he? His left hand, you can't do that.
He's a skinny guy.
I mean,
he thought he'd be a big linebacker. Boy, he put him down. That's usually you get away with that one. Rogers turned his back on him and got a hold on the play. I'm surprised.
First in a bunch. 4-down lineman for the Boilermakers in their base 4-3. The hammer starts looking for Hart, and he went away from him that time. And Hart got back almost to the original line of scrimmage. The two big receivers, outstanding, battling for the Bolitnikov. Braylon Edwards, 4 catches, 17-yard, averaging only 4.3. And Taylor Stubblefield being shut out here in the first half. Thank you, Marlon Jackson, number 3, who has been taking number 21 here today, and he's taking him out of the game. 2nd and 12. Here comes the corner blitz again. They've got Henne on the run, and down he goes. Number 39, and that was Bobby Iwichukwu, who broke through along with Antoine Rogers coming from the corner that time. They were in the foot race, and Bobby made the sack.
What happens on this corner blitz, Purdue sends the rest of their guys to the wide side of the field. So in essence, the Purdue defense is flowing into the screen, and that allows that Purdue defense to read it very easily. Another good call by defensive coordinator Brock Spack.
Defense wants to stop Michigan here. The Wolverines want to get the ball inside the Purdue 40 for a first down. Henne under pressure, hit on the release. And Michigan is forced to punt as Ninkovich again drives in from the right side of the defense and slams in to Henne.
Purdue just keeps coming with guys. They keep coming with linebackers. They force Chad Henne to throw the ball early. Ninkovich, you see linebackers coming from both sides. You get that posse look for Purdue. They're not going to allow Chad Henne to stand there and throw the ball.
Finley is back to punt. The Boilermakers again try to set a return for Cunningham. He'll let it go to the end zone, and it'll come out on the 20. So at the top of the hour here in the Big, virtually the loser you would think would be out of the race for the conference title this year. Still a lot of football to unfold. 1st and 10 from the 20. Orton working late in the first half, coming to void underneath, and not much doing on that as McClintock, who intercepted 2 passes a week ago in Champaign, makes the stop.
Another one of those no yaks after the catch. No yards after the catch, especially on first down. We had that graphic. 4 for 14. Only 4 times in this game has Purdue gained 4 or more yards on first down. That's why they're having trouble moving the football against the Michigan defense.
Shazer, one of those fine defensive backs out there.
See, here's Jackson. We got a graphic at the same time. It's not Stubblefield, but
and he's going to blitz as a result, and he is picked up, and Orton's in trouble, and Jackson's going to come and get him from behind. Stayed with the blitz, and they send him. So Jackson has been all over the field. Let's see. He's had 2 pass interference calls.
Right.
He's also had the hardest hit of the game on Ray Williams. Now he sticks with this blitz. A little high step in there. Get past Boyd. Keep on coming. Come to me, number 18.
Doing a lot of different things. That's the key. A lot of different things from a great player. That's what you want them to do. This time he is on Stubblefield to the top of the screen in the slot.
Stubblefield being shut out here in the first half. Had only 3 catches a week ago against Wisconsin. And penalty flags before the snap.
Wisconsin last week was very upset with Kyle Orton using his hands to draw the defense off sides on shotgun.
False start, number 89, offense. 5-yard penalty remains, 3rd down.
So Ingram incurs the penalty, and a reminder that coming up on the Capital One halftime show, John Craig and Aaron Taylor will have highlights and analysis from all the big games, and there were some huge ones. Mississippi State beating Florida. Still can't get over that upset earlier today. John will have highlights and details. Coming down toward the 1-minute mark, and Jackson showing blitz again. Coming in hard now from the left side. He lines up there. The back tries to get him, pushes him out of the way. So Orton comes coming over the top now to Brian Hare. And Hare has a first down for the Boilermakers with 56 seconds to go. And Purdue with a life after the 38-yard gain.
That was a strange defense by Michigan there. Remember, it was 3rd and 15. And they just brought this man over the slot, and then they didn't cover the wide receiver at all. They covered the slot man and let the wide guy go free down the sideline, and the veteran Orton saw it and picked it up.
Orton fires to Ray Williams to the 39-yard line. Let's make it, and it'll be 2nd down as we see that Purdue has 2 timeouts, and of course first down will stop the clock, and they use one of the 2 right now. So we'll take a break.
Thrown Kyle Orton off his game.
24 takeaways by this Wolverine defense. As you see, again, he had the ball in one hand, out of there in the left hand, and we just go back to that very, very costly fumble of a week ago when he doesn't wrap the football up as he's going down in that situation. It comes out, and it was recovered by Van Alstyne. So Jeremy Van Alstyne, who was supposed to initially be out for the season, they're going to take a quick look at it, and up here in the booth, they will review it again. In case you're not familiar with the Big Ten, experimenting with instant replay, the decisions come from up above.
Game inside, forces Kyle out to his outside over there, gets hit as he's switching the ball into his left hand, and the ball looks to me like it comes through.
They are looking, of course, at this knee. Was the knee down before the ball came out? Was that knee down on the ground? From that angle, it looked very close.
Yes, it really did. It was close. It was nothing
Sure
on
was.
those. Which way do you do it? Was it down or wasn't it down? You know.
Which way would you call it?
I would call it hold on to the ball if I was a quarterback. I think I would call him. I think it's going to be tough to reverse this one. It was called the fumble on the field, and it's going to have to be irrefutable to turn that around.
Under that hood for a long time. This comes from up above. Somebody who's watching our coverage. Same thing we're
After
seeing at home.
further review, there is indisputable video evidence that the quarterback's knee was down before he lost the ball. The ball will go back to Purdue. Second down.
And there you have it. So we have had 2 calls on the field overruled, and we think that good judgment on both decisions. And Lloyd said you call one against Michigan? That can't be.
Now it was a sack back there, so they have to reset the stakes and everything. And still, Purdue has 1 timeout left. I couldn't argue either way with that one, to tell you the truth. Either way, that would have turned out.
I honestly thought that one angle that Bob Goodrich put
Looked
back
his
up,
knee was down?
I thought his right knee was down. I really did. I thought it was very, very close.
Yep. I think Purdue would like to have last week's.
25 yards to put it down there into a makeable field goal attempt here. Here's Orton. Going to go deep and overthrew the freshman.
Purdue ran what you call a 4 vertical. 2 receivers go down the numbers, 2 receivers go down the hashes, and it's the responsibility of the quarterback to move that safety one way or another and try to throw the vertical route.
12 seconds there on the clock. 3rd down.
Probably have to get the ball at least to the 35-yard line, 32-yard line, 30-yard line to have a good shot at a field goal.
Again, Taylor Stubblefield, number 21, the senior wideout, has been shut out so far. Firing gut, freshman Bryant wraps it up. That's not a first down. They're going to have to use that timeout, which they do with 5 seconds to go. A 24-yard gain. Dorian Bryant, the freshman.
When it was 3rd and long, they failed to cover the outside receiver. That was a missed assignment.
One-time quarterback who's now a safety, number 7, will put it down for junior kicker Ben Jones from Zionsville, Indiana, attempting to tie it here at the end of the first half. And it is blocked. It is blocked. Michigan blocks the field goal at the end of the first half. Woods was wrapping the ball up down there, and that brings the first half to an end. One that dominated by defensive plays, just like this one, as Jones going for the tie, and that middle just collapsing, and it is blocked. We check in with Jack. Tough Big Ten game here with Michigan leading Purdue at the half. And we got a red vote for out of whack and a blue vote here.
Look at this. Chad Henne has thrown more passes than Kyle Orton, the Heisman Trophy candidate in the first half. A true freshman thrown more than the senior.
Yeah, but Taylor Stubblefield, the all-time leading receiver for the Big Ten, is being shut out. One thing's for sure, the passing game is struggling for Purdue.
And it's a combination. They feel bad about their matchups on the offensive line, so they have to keep a guy in. That means there's an extra defensive back out there. Plus, they're taking away the short passes for Purdue. Nothing easy out there.
Well, Purdue won the toss and deferred, so they'll get the football to start the second half. Nienberg with the ball on the tee for the Wolverines. And into that breeze, this one looks returnable from the 19, the freshman. So Dorian Bryant gets the call. And now the Pacific Life game summary statistics.
Well, you look at it as, you know, Michigan has been able to control the game with their defense. You would have thought that Purdue would be able to get more yards, 100 yards. I mean, this is a team that's going for 485 yards a game. And at halftime, they've got 142. And remember, the last 2 passes, half of the Purdue pass offense came on busted plays, the last 2 plays of the half for the Purdue offense.
So it is a first down for Purdue. Toss play, void, cut off, gets to the 30. Jack, what did Lloyd Carr have to say?
Well, he kind of echoed what Gary just told you about how great the Michigan defense has been. He said they're spectacular. He said offensively, I'm not all that happy. He said we got to make some changes. He told me that at the end of the halftime, he challenged his team to remember that they're the defending Big 12 champions. Big 10 champions. He said, "Now go out there and play like that."
Nice effect there.
Well, I thought Jack found out that maybe Notre Dame had joined the conference there for a second.
Second down for Orton from the gun against the three-man rush. Offensive line gives him time. He's got Bryant again to the 35, short of the first down. Sharp tackle by Marlon Jackson, who has played a terrific football game.
We said we'd be watching Marlon Jackson and saying, how does he disrupt the Purdue offense? He's been physical. He's been physical with receivers, and Stubblefield here, and he's been all over the field with blitzes, going right through Voigt's block here to get a sack. Physical, intense, and great cover. Marlon Jackson's been the key to the game.
And if you weren't with us early, 2 quick pass interference calls. He signaled early on that he was going to be all over the receivers if they threw in his vicinity. Now a third down play coming up, and Purdue only 2 of 8. Now make it 2 of 9 as the ball is deflected by Lawrence Reed, the senior linebacker from Pickerington, Ohio.
See what happens when you keep your backs in the backfield. The linebackers can free up and read the quarterback's eyes. And that's what happened on that play. Purdue is used to sending all 5 receivers out because of the bad matchups on the offensive line and that great Michigan rush. They've been forced to keep a guy in.
The dominant unit, the Wolverine defense, except for Purdue's opening drive. They scored on that Preston. We'll let this one go out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. Nice punt. Out of bounds at the 17-yard line by the young man, Dave Bridus, with a 49-yarder out of bounds.
This Purdue football team was built this year that the offense was going to carry the team. Now, as bad as Purdue's offense has been struggling so far, the Purdue defense has kept them in the game. 10-7. Michigan has to find a way to find more yards against this very quick but very young Purdue defense.
In the first half, Hart ran for 68 yards, 15 carries. Edwards, the motion receiver. Hart, the running back, and falls forward for about 4 yards. You know, when he goes down, he goes forward all the time. It's like these 2 touchdowns that we've had in successive weeks. His body on top of a teammate, and he just never stops.
I think that's because he's one of those guys that are built low to the ground. You know, if you look at Michael Hart, you might say he's not the home run hitter. It doesn't look like he has that Anthony Davis blazing speed, but because he doesn't, he's learned to run the tough yards.
Jack compared him with Jamie Morris, and I think a lot of other folks agree with Jack in that. And he's a diaper dandy, and stopped at the 21-yard line. And let's take a close look at this young man.
Well, he does some things very well. He's got great hops. What that means is you get in the hole, and he can jump side to side and find an angle. Because he's small, if he gets behind that huge Michigan offensive line, he's tough to find. And we've seen what he's done with his legs. He just keeps pumping and going and going. And, you know, durable might be another thing. He just keeps taking those handoffs and making plays.
You got to have heart, miles and miles of heart, and he has certainly shown that. Third down for Henney. Edwards, that familiar number 1. Henney's on the release, off to the side, got it, and it is a first down. A beautiful catch by Tim Massacoy, who's been active today with 3 catches for 39 yards.
So many people are going with the receivers that you got one-on-one. A tight end, a receiving tight end, matched up against a linebacker. You like that matchup? That's a good decision by the quarterback and a great catch by Massacoy. He's coming on. Early in his career, Massacoy, a big recruit, was dropping a lot of balls, but he's coming on catching the football.
Well-run pattern just beyond the first down marker. How often do we see the youngsters come up a little bit short in that situation? Now it's Dudley, the fullback, slipping out of bounds on the far side as Henney starts to work the sideline. Gary, Henney, he got great velocity, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
On this sideline ball.
He does. He's got great confidence in his arm. He steps in and really rips all of his throws. He's going to learn the finer points of the game and learn how to touch it in there. And boy, you don't see a lot of bootlegs from Michigan. They don't want to put him in bad positions where he turns his back to the defense. They're doing a very good job with this young quarterback, and Michigan coaches are.
So Henney is under center here for second down. There's the draw play with Hart, and look at him try to get back up and still pick up some yards after he was hit. And Chad Henne seems to be handling the pressure so well at Michigan. In fact, he talked about being the pressure of a quarterback.
There's always pressure on you, but you still got to realize that there's 10 other guys out there playing with you. And that's how I take it every game. I mean, everybody's supporting you, everybody's behind you. And the only way you win is as a team.
Mature beyond his years from Wyomissing, Pennsylvania.
It's a dangerous down here, though, for Michigan. The Purdue defense will try to confuse him and try to pick off the ball here. Both safeties are coming.
Creeping up, Smith jumped, throw in the air, and it was almost intercepted. Great setup by Gary that time as Kegler, the redshirt freshman from Indianapolis, drew a bead on this pass, just what you suggested.
Both safeties, you can see it. Smith here and Pollard here are going to come, and they tried to get the cross. Purdue knows that you're not going to get a lot of time to throw this ball, so they move up on their receivers. They do what Michigan had been doing, and the ball is slightly behind. A good stop on 3rd and long for the Purdue defense.
Ross Mann is the long snapper for the Wolverines. He puts it in Finley's hands. Cunningham is back deep. And they'll let this one bounce. It takes a Michigan bounce to the 31-yard line. So that's where the Boilermakers will put it in play. Purdue scored on its first drive of the game and hasn't scored since. Michigan up 3. You can wonder about Purdue center Matt Turner, number 56. He started the game 6'3". He's 288, banging into Gabe Watson, who's 366 and on a diet. And Watson lined up right over the center. Smashes into him on the play, helps disrupt it. Running game is stopped. And we ask Big Gabe how he lost so much weight.
I had to lay away from all the banana pudding my father was making and steaks and things like that. And, you know, talking to older guys that were going, you know, through the same thing.
Well, take a look at the svelte, 366-pound Gabe Watson now. Now about, what did Jack tell me? 340 something.
Yeah, he's lost 30 pounds. I mean, that's not as hard when you're 366.
Second down. Now here comes the swing of the receiver. Void.
Great play by Lawrence.
I don't think it was a lateral.
No.
So Lawrence Reed reacting to the ball over there with coverage. But Gary, if anything surprises me, it is that the Purdue offense continues to struggle, and that goes back to the fourth quarter of the Wisconsin game a week ago.
Yeah, you know, I mean, 65 yards the first possession, they just did it. So look at that. Next 7 possessions, 98 yards. Remember, 61 of that was on busts by the Michigan defense. A well-schooled Michigan defense who feels comfortable with the Purdue offense, I think.
Now flushed out, and there's a penalty flag thrown on the interception. Picked off at the 41-yard line by Leon Hall. A penalty flag thrown on the play.
Holding 63, offense, penalties decline.
Absolutely.
First down.
David Owen guilty of holding on that play, but the interception stands.
Grant Mason, number 13, man-to-man. Look at that, help inside from Shazor. Leon Hall switches off on the play and actually just finds the deepest man. That's a smart football player. Leon Hall says, I'm going to take the deep guy. I know I got another guy, but I'm not letting a guy run by my face.
2 interceptions a year ago, and now 1 today for number 29, who is a sophomore from Vista, California.
Big cushion here to the outside on Braylon Edwards. Big cushion.
Here's Hart. Daylight for a first down.
That's the play Michigan has been running all game. George Hall, number 30, the middle linebacker, has been seeing this. Isolation with the guard pulling around. They've popped it a few times. You'll see it come around this way, and there's the big gaping hole this time. Dudley comes in. The backside, Reuben Riley comes in, and Hall into the secondary, Hart into the secondary, and he's approaching 100 yards. He's at 84 rushing yards now.
After that 12-yard gain. First down for Henne. They run behind the big fullback, Dudley. Dudley on a search and destroy, and Hart across the 40-yard line. Whoa, baby.
That's right. Number 32, a great leader, a great football player. Let's look at Michigan when they get the ball. Backed up 25% of the time. Look at this, though. 20 to 50, only 26% of the time. The Michigan offense really has not been that efficient this year, and I attribute most of that to a young quarterback and a young tailback.
One of the things we note about Michigan over the last 2 weeks against Champaign in Illinois, when we were in there, they started to run downhill in the second half, and it looks like they're up to the same thing here with that big, massive offensive line starting to take charge. Protection. Hinney's got a gimme to Avant. Avant is down at the 26-yard line. 1st and 10.
Boy, is Chad Henne cool.
And, of course, a reminder that next Saturday, it'll be in the Big Ten, either Purdue at Northwestern or Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State, Michigan. John L. Smith's getting an eyeful here today.
Yeah, I bet.
He's watching. He's got the Wolverines next in Ann Arbor, Texas, Colorado, Florida State, Maryland. So it's a doubleheader day, and
how about Iowa staying in this Big Ten race with all the injuries they've had? Great job by
Aren't they down to about their 5th running back?
Yes, they are.
A walk-on by the name of Brownlee, I believe, is the youngster's name, and whistle blew prior to the snap, so the play is stopped, and we'll get an indication here from our officials. Dennis Lipsky, our referee.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 72, offense.
That's Reuben Riley.
Remains 1st down.
And we check in with Jack.
Well, Brent, a couple of weeks ago, you looked at Michael Hart and you wondered if maybe he was just a tad tentative. So Braylon Edwards, his teammate, sat him down and he told him that the performances up to that point, according to Edwards, he thought he was running a little bit tentative. Said, look, you're fearful about fumbling. He says, just be Mike Hart, the one we recruited, the one with all the records, all the touchdowns, all the yardage. Mike Hart took it to heart.
Look at those safeties. Only 7 men in the box. Michigan will run the ball.
And Hart again gets through the first wave back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be around 2nd and 10, and George Hall drops that hammer again from the middle linebacking spot.
That's where the Michigan pass offense is paying off for running the ball in the second half, like you mentioned a minute ago, Brent. The Purdue defense must look deep to the outside as Michael Hart has been emerging. I like that he runs the ball between the tackles. He's not a speed back. He loves to run the ball inside.
Lined up on 5 to 6 yards deep behind Henne. Off a fake to Hart. And incomplete. And Rogers was in behind Braylon Edwards. Time permitting, the Thrifty Carvino postgame report with John, Craig, and Aaron. Stay tuned for highlights and analysis from today's matchup. They will probably tell you in that game where we're going to be headed.
Watch Spencer, excuse me, Brent, watch Spencer come to the outside. Chad Henne has to learn to ride back up in the pocket. That was pretty good protection, and that's why that ball sailed high on him. He allowed the corner to make it too easy for Spencer. He needs to ride inside.
Stinovich close to a hold on that. Did a good job of riding the defensive lineman out of that play from his left tackle spot. Pass protection starts with those left tackles. And a great move that time by Tyler Ecker. Ecker acts like he's going to take out the defensive end, kind of fans on him and turns around for the reception. Pollard making the stop. And Ecker, of course, the big hero of the Minnesota game. Watch Ecker here.
A little bit of a gimmick play right here. Everybody's thinking one way. It's a slip screen back to the tight end. Purdue is right there ready for the tackle and makes the play. Pollard making his assignment pay off for Purdue.
So here's Garrett Rivas for 38 yards. Gutierrez, the quarterback's the holder, waits for Rivas to tell him he's ready, and now we're ready. And he missed it. Wide left. It stays at 10-7. Can the Purdue offense do anything about it? We'll find out. AOL for broadband, proud sponsor of 1st and 10. You look down from our blimp, the Outback Bloomin' Onion, high above with great shots, allowing our director Trojan to give us just great views down here as a graduate of USC awaits the tough Washington Huskies this afternoon in the Los Angeles Coliseum. USC only favored by 5 touchdowns. 1st down and 10. Here is Void to the 26-yard line.
We did get a report at halftime about Kyle Orton having a bit of a hip pointer. We need to watch that. Came to the side. Remember, he was riding the bike a little bit, and you wonder how well he can flow. Gabe Watson here lays right on his left hip. After that, we saw him go to the bicycle, and you're wondering if he can get out of the pocket and run and throw effectively as he did before.
Inside handoff, and Boyd slipping as he gets to the 29-yard line. 3rd and short. We check in with John in New York.
It's time for Aaron's Pontiac game-changing performance of the day. Jonathan Lowe with a 74-yard punt return from Mississippi State.
This was a big play of many for Sylvester Croom's team, but what a great job he does getting his team to win. He talked about he didn't have any players on this play. I can't tell.
All right, 9-game winless streak in the SEC. Done.
One of the big upsets of the day, John and Aaron. Mississippi State, a team which lost to 1AA Maine in Starkville earlier in the year. Mark of a good coach is when a team gets better. Orton now going incomplete. Jackson and Stubblefield, number 21, has been shut out here today. He is the leading all-time receiver in the Big Ten, and I wonder if number 3, Marlon Jackson, is not in his head.
Well, I mean, you'd think so. I mean, you know, you got, what, 2 or 3 catches last week, none today. That was an audible by Kyle Orton. One of the things you have to be careful about as a quarterback is checking to a long pass on 3rd and short. There's just not it's a low percentage pass, and Kyle checked to a deep ball.
Return is set. Brightest booms this one. Maybe his best punt of the day. Preston trying to catch up with it. Oh, that's a beauty. Out of bounds at the 10-yard line. The freshman with a 61-yard punt. Time out of West Lafayette. Girl number 24 here at Purdue. That is Christy Stallings. You go back to 1954. Juanita Carpenter was the first ever Golden Girl. They performed before intermission. And here is Hart ridden out of bounds by Pollard. Let's check in on a quarterback comparison here, Gary. And you think that Orton should be throwing the ball more?
Well, it's tough. I'll admit that. It's a 10-7 game, and so it's a close football game. But I think Kyle should have about 30 throws by now for them to be moving the ball correctly. And those third and outs, I mean, those 3 and outs and 3rd down conversions have not worked well for the Purdue offense.
2nd and 7. Massaquoi. And he fires complete. Rogers, a good-looking corner, is on a man. And John, as Florida State started to dig in against Wake Forest, what's going on?
Well, Brent, it hasn't been good for Wyatt Sexton today. INT for a touchdown, fumble for a touchdown. But this time, he will find Willie Reed 20 yards. And finally, Florida State with a touchdown in the game, but still trailing Wake Forest, Brent, 14-10.
That would be another shocker, huh? If both those Florida teams lost. Miami better. That's the game on ESPN. 3rd down, and he has the changeup. Hart.
What to run into, boy.
Keeps coming.
Yep.
Man, I don't believe that I have seen a freshman who just keeps churning away. This young man does. It's just hard to deny him extra yardage after contact.
Ran right into the teeth of the Purdue defense. Dudley does a nice job, but he spins forward and then throws the ball late. Now, I would say he was short on this one, Michael Hart.
They're going to bring the chains out. And, this could just be inches short. You're right, Gary. If you look at the black part of the 20, just a few inches they need.
Yep.
I don't think there's any question about it.
Yeah, eventually you got to put it down. All right,
so top of the hour here in the Big Ten in the showdown of the heavyweights. Michigan and Purdue. Wisconsin already a winner here today. Both are chasing the Badgers. You would think that the loser might be out. One thing to repeat is the fact that Michigan does not play Wisconsin this year. Unless, of course, the Rose Bowl loses USC to the Orange Bowl. They could invite both Big Ten schools out.
That'd make them happy.
bring a lot of tourists into Southern California, I might add. And now it's 4th down. Finley is back.
He's staying in this game with great defense.
And they have been trying to set a return here for Cunningham. Bobbles it, got to pick it up. And he is down at the 36-yard line. Well, tomorrow the PGA Tour's best fight for a spot on the top 30 and a berth in the Tour Championship. Live final round coverage of the Funai Classic at the Walt Disney World Resort begins at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, right here on ABC. I'm told that Vijay Singh teed it up in his tournament, but a few shots back. Unusual when we don't say he's on the first page of the leaderboard, but you can never count out number 1. Vijay Singh coming.
Let's see
wonderful year.
Brent, let's see if Purdue can get it to the tight end Davis. Remember early in the game they got it to him before. Maybe that's a matchup that they can exploit.
Well, they've got 5 wide here for Orton. Offensive line gives him time. Gonna go deep. Got it. Put it in the scorebook. Brandon Jones, 63 yards. Purdue takes the lead. The junior from Peru, Indiana.
Very strange defense for Michigan. No safeties and a linebacker matched up wide with a speed back. Scott McClintock was the inside linebacker that's playing bump and run and a speedy back to the outside.
Credit Jim Chaney.
Yes.
With drawing that play up, figuring that if he moved Brandon Jones out as a receiver, he might draw linebacker coverage that Gary told you about. So that is a very, very well-conceived play. Jones does the rest, and a very well-thrown football, we might add.
Thrown ball, but look at this. Man-to-man out here. This is a linebacker on a speed running back. But where's the safeties? Remember, it's 1st and 10 on this play. So now you're matching up, and you know Kyle Orton sees that right away. He's got the matchup he wants, lays it out there, and this is like throwing pitch and catch at the beginning of the game. This is a line drill for Purdue. They do this every day.
Take another look. The offensive line, they give him time. Otto, Wanari, Turner, Moore, Owen. Beautiful pitch and catch on that. And he runs it into the end zone. And for the 2nd time today, Purdue has the lead. Let's check in with Jack.
Well, Brent, you could see from the way he threw. I asked Kyle Orton just before he went back out how he was being affected by that hip pointer from the first half. He said, Jack, I got plenty of mobility. He said, in fact, I got it shut up at halftime. He says, just watch. I did, you did, and you saw a TD.
Send me up some of whatever he took.
Wait a second. He got shot up and told you to shut up. Is that what you said?
Here's the kickoff into the end zone, and a fired-up Jones. And, well, tonight it shows for you 14-10, and if this winds up being a classic, we'll put this on ESPN Classic.
Now, Braylon Edwards only has 4 catches for 18 yards. Michigan has been playing it very close to the vest. I look for Michigan to go to their go-to guy, Braylon Edwards. Find a way to get him the ball.
4 catches, but for only 18 yards, as the defense has kept Braylon under control after he's caught a Chad Henne pass. 1st down, Henne comes in underneath Massacoy, run out of bounds at the 31-yard line, picking up the 1st down for the Wolverines.
It was a good throw by Chad Henne. He got pasted just as he let that one go. They were trying to get the ball to Braylon Edwards, but Massacoy coming underneath and delivered very well. The last time, remember, Purdue scored with the opening drive. Michigan answered with the very next drive. Let's see if they can do it again. They're going to have to open it up. Too tough. They have not proven they can run the ball against the 7-man front for Purdue.
Massacoy can show the NFL scouts that he can also block. He's going to have a great payday, the senior, because he's an excellent receiver as a tight end. 1st down and 10. Bobble snap. He's got the hold. Handoff now to Hart. Hart slashes to the right. Got daylight. 45-foot race. And Smith tackles him at the 40-yard line, but it's another 28 yards. He has 120 yards rushing on the day.
Right into the strong safety blitz right here. Purdue will be going back that way, but watch this. Michigan runs the ball right into the teeth of it. Good cut, the hops to the outside. That's what I'm talking about with Michael Hart. He sees that vision, is able to hop past the guy and get into the secondary, and that puts Michael Hart at 120 yards. 129, excuse me.
We get word that the Boston College beat Notre Dame by a single point, I'm told, 24-23. So those of you who watched that game, we welcome you to a Big Ten, Donnybrook, and Chad Henne is going down, and he is in the arms of Ray Edwards, the sophomore from Cincinnati.
I'll tell you, Brent, Brock Spack, the defensive coordinator for Purdue, will not back up. He keeps dialing those blitzes over and over again. There he is, former linebacker. Joe Tiller brought him with him from Wyoming back to his alma mater to coach defense, and he's done a great job. He's had to replace 8 guys on this defense. Very young, but still very aggressive.
Second down, Wolverines need 18. They're on the draw with Hart. Hart still battling free. 35-30. And he slips as he was trying to cut back on the 19-yard line. He is a young man that you cannot bring down with one tackle. That is 34 more yards. This is remarkable.
Absolutely. Watch Dudley. He fits with George Hall. Then a bounce to the outside. He's not wrapped up. Not wrapped up by Hall, and he bounces back outside. Keeps his legs going. Just keeps running and moving.
That was a broken hammer that time. As we see from above, you can watch right there. Look at him spin off the middle linebacker. And then Max Martin will give him a blow right now. So number 23 will run the draw play for Michigan. Fresh legs to the 11-yard line.
I tell you, Michigan runs the ball between the tackles. I'm sure that on the sideline, Terry Malone, the offensive coordinator, and Lloyd Carr said, come on, Michigan offensive line. These are all young players for Purdue. Let's stick it up there and run the ball against them.
25 more carries, 40 carries a week ago in Champaign against the Fighting Illini.
Most nervous guy, Max Martin. He does not want to lay the ball on the field right now.
Massacoy with the H-back look. Martin cuts back in that direction. The hole is jammed, and like Hardy, hope to keep on driving. Hart returns to the lineup, and here's a graphic showing you what he had done through 7 games. He'd broken the freshman record back-to-back Saturdays. Now he has the all-time freshman rushing record in his 8th game into the season. Today, 25 carries, 162 more yards on the field. 3rd down.
This is what they like to throw to Braylon. The fade pass to the outside.
Blocked. Incomplete. Pressured by Stanford Kegler, the will linebacker from Indianapolis.
Tried to get the slip screen into Michael Hart that time. Braylon Edwards was totally upset on this one that they did not come to him to the outside. One-on-one coverage. He turns around after the play and yells back to the sideline that, come on, throw me the ball.
Here's 4th down, and here is Garrett Rivas. 25. They are down by 4 points. 1:11 left in the 3rd. Gutierrez, quarterback, the holder, puts it down. And this time, Rivas hammers it home to make this a 1-point game. 14-13. 1:06 left in the 3rd. Four catches for only 18 yards.
You know, and I don't think that's being selfish, Brent. I mean, he's proven himself that he can catch the ball in one-on-one coverage, and he had one-on-one coverage on that play.
The return men are way up. And this will be Bryant again. Down at the 24-yard line, and we check in New York with John Saunders. John.
Well, Brent, Notre Dame facing Boston College, and the Irish led most of the day, but here in the final minute, Paul Peterson to Tony Gonzalez, 30 yards for the touchdown. The Irish march back, and a last-second 55-yard field goal comes up wide Boston College comes up with the victory in South Bend, 24-23.
Ouch. Boy, BC's had Notre Dame's number the last few years, haven't they? I go back to that great performance by Coach Tom Coughlin after the Irish had picked off Florida State. And then BC went in there and beat them, and they've been beating them ever since. This throw now is put in the hands of Brian Hare, the junior from Arlington Heights, JC transfer here.
Michigan goes with a very soft defense that time, soft zone. Kyle Orton recognizes it and just takes the little easy one. So somewhere in between bump and run with linebackers and a soft zone is what Michigan's been effective with. But so far, back-to-back plays, Orton is starting to feel comfortable, and they're selling out to the pass now.
2nd and 4. The Boilermakers up, but only by a point. He brings Davis.
No safeties.
Brings the tight end in. He's going to loop to him, and Davis just couldn't quite get around the defensive back Monday that time to get to daylight. And
nice play by Monday. That was a gimmick play again. Audible play against man coverage. The tight end pretends like he's going to block, tries to draw the blitz, and just lob it up for an easy one.
Davis was involved last week in that controversy of play with Wisconsin defensive end Erasmus James.
They're going to come in
Third
motion.
Down.
Somebody's going to come in motion into this spot. It's too wide open.
Now Orton has Boyd, the running back, right off to his left. And here's Boyd. Got the first down.
Option play. How about that? That was an audible also by Kyle Orton.
Looked like Gary Danielson running the wishbone.
That's right.
By the way, why did Purdue use the wishbone with you in those days?
You know, when you don't win for 2 years, you make changes. I don't blame anybody but myself, really, to tell you the truth. You got to win. Coaches try to win whatever way they can.
First down and 10. So the change, Gary, have moved now to the 34-yard line for Joe Tiller, former head coach out at Wyoming, influenced by Mike Price, Dennis Erickson, played for the Bobcats in Bozeman. As the final seconds here on the third quarter tick off. But you all will come back. Again, this is going to be a great fourth quarter. Back after this message in a word from our ABC stations. Well, we will see who's taking care of business here in the final 15 minutes of regulation. Sitting on a 1 right now. Purdue is up 14-13. Orton has now thrown 25 times, completing 11 for 175 as Boyd squeezes out a yard. And
Big Gabe was right in there again on that play.
We talked to Orton about if he thought things would turn out like this at Purdue.
That's what I wanted when I came here. I wanted to be I want to be the guy that, wins or loses games for us, and I've done a little bit of both. I've had some bad times and I've had some really good times. So, I like that pressure, and that's why I came here.
Yeah, so he faces that pressure right now, just as he did last week. Came up a little bit short. Following Saturday, you always get another chance in sports. That's what you can ask for. And
Gabe again.
Now, Gabe is just a load for Turner
really
in the middle of that offensive line.
He really is. Michigan is forcing Purdue to block him with one guy by moving Shazor up there. Look at they try to slip block. The center goes for the linebacker, and the backside guard can't handle him. What a load. I mean, that is an NFL player.
I'm glad he went on that diet.
Yeah, exactly. And that has really been a big difference of why Purdue has tried to fight to manufacture ways to move the ball. They don't feel confident up front, and the man coverage in the backfield has bothered them also.
3rd and 12 coming up here from the shotgun. Orton has time, tripped up, won't get the first down.
See, I like that, though. I was taught when I scrambled to keep the ball in your dominant hand, which is your right hand. Okay, watch when he gets back there. He runs forward as you look at the leaders for Purdue right there. In the Wisconsin game on the bootleg, he switched it to his non-dominant hand, his left hand, and I think that's what caused the fumble.
And putting the hand down to brace the fall.
Exactly.
And running backs, of course, will wrap the ball up and go down on top of it. As Brightus, the freshman, spins one, and here comes Preston. Slips a tackle. Look out. One block. down at the 45-yard line as he is wrapped up by Brandon Jones. So the running back who broke it open with that huge reception for a touchdown made what could have been a game touchdown saving tackle here on Preston.
He breaks through on a tackle and Purdue rests. They think he's down. They think Pollard's got him. Watch Grant Mason pass somebody up. Mason passes up Void and Brandon Jones rather, and that allows Preston to get tackled on the play.
And Preston, former high hurdler out of Pennsylvania, basketball player, played quarterback in high school as a senior, and a very, very dangerous return man. And Michigan trailing by a point, working with the short field. Here is Hart, and there's the hops. That,
absolutely.
Gary told you about the hops as he hopped back to the right and made it to the 42-yard line.
I'll tell you a guy he reminds me of, Priest Holmes with that. That's how Priest Holmes run. When he runs with the Kansas City Chiefs, we saw him at Texas, comes in here, he sees action, and he just hops around it. Now watch, this is what good backs do. They do it with 2 feet, they keep playing it, and just hop around those angle tackles like that. That is a skill you cannot teach.
Here's second down for Henne. Wolverines need 6. Receivers were covered. Henne will take off to the first down marker. The offensive leaders for the Wolverines. Look at Michael Hart again. 166 more yards and has carried 26 times to Massaquoi, the leading receiver, with 51 yards. Avant and Edwards have caught as many balls, but they don't have as many yards. Yeah, Avant has 40 and Edwards only 18.
With the success of Henne and the success of Michael Hart, Michigan fans are wondering why they only have 13 points. I believe it's because Purdue has been able to stop Braylon Edwards. That's their big play guy, and they're getting no easy touchdowns in this game, Michigan.
We're going to cross to measure where Henne stepped out of bounds and just a touch short.
It's a gamble play right here, 2nd and short.
At the end of the game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team, and Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund.
My fault, 3rd and short. Not a gamble play. You got to control the clock if you're Michigan. Very impressed with the Purdue defense, aren't you, Brent?
Yes, I am. I'm surprised because when the season began, Gary, we thought that might be the weak part of it. You and I talked about it.
They graduated all their players. They're all new starters out there. Only 3 guys that have any experience at all on that field.
Edwards to the right and Avant to the left. 2 tight ends. And it looks like Rogers will match up against Avant, which puts Hickman on Edwards, but it is a running play, and he keeps it himself.
Well, that's very close. They did not get as much push on that time when they ran the sneak.
And we step behind Matt Lentz, Dave Boss, Jake Long on that side.
This is like the close play at second base. You know, they give you the benefit of the doubt. The ball gets there before the runner. That's an inside joke.
Yes, it is, and that's out, baby.
Brent and I were watching a game the other night, arguing about a play, the baseball game, and Brent was very clear. Usually how the quarterback sneaks, if it doesn't look really bad, they give the quarterback the 1.5 yards.
You're driving home tonight,
yes,
right?
I am.
You'll be able to listen to game 1.
Yes, I will. I'm excited about
Miller
it.
And Joe Morgan will take you home. I had their companionship at American League playoff the other night. Good company.
It is.
And there's the first down. It's just an amazing story that the Red Sox will be playing in the World Series after falling back 3 games to none. Still hard to believe. The Cardinals and Houston, and again, you know, back-to-back years we've had just classic playoff matchups, and so many of these football players are also baseball fans. A lot of these youngsters are watching here play Little League and high school baseball. Several of the Michigan offensive linemen. Jake Long was a baseball player.
Need to throw the ball short to Braylon Edwards.
Here's Henne. He's got Braylon turning up the field. You know, Hickman did a good job on him over there.
He knocked him out. That's interference. You got to give Edwards an opportunity to go get that ball. It was a good job on the out and up, but Hickman hit him when the ball was in the air, and we talked to the officials about this.
Is that ball catchable?
Well, I think you got to. What's not catchable for Braylon Edwards? Absolutely.
Number 33, defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Remember, the officials told us these great athletes, as he gets ridden out of bounds, you have to give them the benefit of the doubt that he could accelerate through this ball. Hickman needed to turn around and look for the ball and not force him out on the play.
Questionable only if the ball was catchable, but I go back on what Gary said. You know, what's not catchable with Braylon Edwards? I think that's the significant point there.
It's very difficult to judge.
I thought that Hickman, for a moment, I honestly did not see him bump him over there. I thought he'd done a great job on it.
He was playing so far off, I'm surprised they tried the out and up.
First down. Here's Hart into the middle for a couple of yards, and we check in New York with John.
Brandon, it's time for the singular All-America Player of the Week. It could be Jason White, who had 4 touchdown passes today against Kansas, also threw for almost 400 yards. To vote, text the word player to 64444. We're going to ESPN.com, keyword singular. Jason White could be closing in on his second Heisman Trophy. Brent.
And John, of course, we'll have the singular ABC Sports All-American team a little bit later in the season. And the battle for the quarterback job is going to be interesting because you talked about White, and there's Matt Leinart out at USC, Kyle Orton here at Purdue. And folks, in your opinion, who is the singular All-American Quarterback of the Year? We'll find out. And welcome back to the BCS Spotlight Game, presented by ADT. Purdue clinging to that 1-point lead here with 11 minutes and 12 seconds left. Michigan on the drive. A second down and 9 to go for Chad Henne. Preston's to his left. Edwards is the slot man. Looks in that direction, goes far outside to Abot. Goes down short of the first down marker at the 15-yard line. Brian Hickman, who was guilty of interference, brings him down right there. And now it'll be third, and we'll make it 4 yards to go for the third down, for the first down.
Yeah, Brian Hickman is a competitor. I'll give that to him. You know, they don't say doesn't have great speed. We asked Joe Tiller what defensive player has come the farthest this year, the biggest surprise, and he said Brian Hickman. You know, they really didn't count it. They lost Reeves last year, a great cover corner, but Hickman has come in there and made plays at that wide corner.
Amasakoy has 4 catches for 51 yards. He is on the right side of the formation.
Here comes Purdue. They are coming.
They send Edwards in motion. Henne, those looking to the left, on the hit by the safety Smith. Number 7, Kyle Smith, bores in on the freshman quarterback, and the young man wants a walk-on who is now their starting safety.
That was Stuart Swigert a year ago, but it's the same package. One of 10 or 12 blitzes that Purdue has in for the young freshman quarterback, and that one got him.
Now Rivas will kick for the lead. 32 yards will make it. Gutierrez is the holder, and Ross Mann will snap it to him. Gutierrez now looks at Rivas. No. Blocked. Purdue hangs on to its 1-point lead.
That's their 6th of the year.
Is that Smith again?
Coming around. Let's see who gets his hand on it.
The block was by Bobby Iwichukwu, I think.
He's the block.
We'll double check it, but Iwichukwu may have got it. That'll be their 6th block this year. A pin was placed in the dislocated thumb, and so with his cast, the 6th block kick of the year.
Linebacker out there again.
And so Orton goes incomplete, and the crowd's got interference. Late flag, but it was finally thrown. And Marcus Curry incurs the penalty, working on freshman Dorian Bryant that time.
Pass interference, number 30 of the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Now that's the price you pay when you make the call in front of the other bench, folks. Right.
That's right. Marcus Curry gets his hand on a Speedy Bryant. There you can see he's got his hands on him. The ball's going. They're going to call that, just like the other way on the one before with Braylon Edwards.
Not finished. Going to get his money's worth.
Lloyd's just working for the next one.
Absolutely. I mean, he is working.
He's putting a Gene Cady on him right now.
I saw the basketball coach. He was in here at halftime to say hello. Wish him well in his final season. He's been a great, great basketball coach here at Purdue. The inside handoff and boy, this time. Well, I am told that the Knowles are coming. Tra-la, tra-la. John, give us the update.
And here it is. We know what a struggle it's been for Wyatt Sexton this entire game, turning the ball over. But here he goes deep. 46 yards to Dominic Robinson. They get the touchdown, and Florida State now has the lead by a field goal with about 9 minutes left. Oklahoma State has grabbed the lead over Missouri with about 40 seconds to go in that one. Brent.
All right, John. Missouri, I think, might have been favored in that game. I can't remember now. Oklahoma State, of course, losing to Texas A&M last week. Second down and long here, and Orton from the gun. The offensive line does a job. Goes down the far sideline, incomplete. And they go back. Marlon Jackson, the defender, that time, and he was all over Stubblefield. And we still have the all-time leading receiver in the Big Ten being shut out. No catches for Stubblefield in this game.
You have to give a lot of credit, obviously, to Marlon Jackson, but it's not been just Marlon Jackson. Oftentimes, Marlon is blitzing, they're playing zone. No matter where Stubblefield goes and no matter what the defense is, the Michigan defense has an eye on 21. It's like basketball. They're forcing Kyle Orton to throw the ball away from their favorite guy.
Jackson making a big statement, though, in his race for the Thorpe Trophy as the best defensive back this year. Orton, under pressure, steps away and will be sacked at the 23-yard line by Pat Massey, the big senior from Brecksville, Ohio.
Only a 3-man rush that time for the Michigan front three, and they get a sack out of it. That means 8 Michigan defensive backs had everyone blanketed. Kyle Orton was smart not to force something there. They still got a 1-point lead, Purdue does.
Brightus on to punt again.
And there's that game breaker right there, number 15.
Beautiful punt by the freshman from Pennsylvania. Drove Bruston inside the 25, bobbles it down at the 26-yard line.
Boy, Preston's had a tough year this year. Injuries, got a bad ankle, bad finger. He just does not look explosive like he did a year ago.
Time permitting, the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report will come along with John, Craig, and Aaron. So stay tuned for the fellas from New York. They'll have the highlights and analysis from today's matchups. Aaron Taylor, probably a little bit down. He's Irish. Picked off by Boston College by a point, but the big fellow recovered. He'll be okay.
Right now, if you're Michigan, you're thinking you're only going to get the ball 1 or 2, maybe 3 times more. You got to make every drive count. Purdue's saying, if we stop them one more time, this game might be ours.
It's that magic 8-minute mark. And he's in trouble. Pollard's got him on a safety blitz. Did get it off, but he was racked. And it was at this point a week ago against Wisconsin that Purdue let it get away from them. And now, this time, they will see if they can close the door against Michigan. Second down and 10. Pollard showing blitz again. He's picked up. Hinney and Edwards cannot connect, and Edwards that time let one get away.
Absolutely. That's a first down. That's an opportunity to be in position to score points, and this is a perfect throw by Chad Henne. Braylon Edwards tried to slide and catch his ball, puts his baby fingers together, and then just slides underneath the ball, tried to catch it with his body. That's a drop.
Here's third down for Henne and the Wolverines. Straight back. Incomplete. And Michigan forced the punt. Another fine defensive performance by the Boilermakers.
I tell you, Purdue's linebackers run. You do not play ball anymore for Purdue if you can't run. And that time, Stanford Kegler, number 59, ran with that crossing route.
And now the freshman Dorian Bryant is going to try to ignite the punt return team. He's back to return for the first time. Finley. Here comes the freshman who can fly. Beats the first man. Gets to the right corner. And then down at the 36-yard line. And Dudley, the big fullback, would not give ground. Number 32 with a heartbreaker to Wisconsin a week ago, clinging to a 1-point lead. 14-13. We have 8:07 left in regulation. And Brandon Jones, who caught the 60-yard scoring pass, has checked in. And the end around with Ray Williams goes nowhere. They give ground and lose yardage back inside the 30-yard line. That's a loss of 8 yards for the Boilermakers here at 7:50.
Lamar Woodley did not get the start in this game because of a disciplinary reason for the Michigan football team. But he's had a tremendous football game for them. Rushing the passer, he was the guy then on that reverse that played his position, stayed deep as the deepest guy, and forced a negative play for Purdue.
Second down.
Purdue.
And timeout has been called by Purdue. So we will take a break. 7:36 left. Newly remodeled Ross-Ade Stadium here in West Lafayette, and one of the best remodeling jobs we've been around. And you saw the view from the Outback Steakhouse blimp, the Bloomin' Onion, high above us. Unable to be here in the first half because it was so overcast, but they were right there when we needed them in the second half, and they've been offering up some beautiful views for you. 14-13.
Put Stubblefield outside to get a different matchup. Get him away from Marlon Jackson.
Orton has a hole to the left side, but is not even close to getting back to the original line of scrimmage. And for those of you folks who joined us, let me show you on the Pacific Life Game summary. Here's the 63-yard pass to the running back Jones from Kyle Orton, giving Purdue the lead. Then the blocked field goal by Bobby Iwichukwu, the junior who underwent surgery on Monday. Had a pin placed at a dislocated thumb. That is the 6th blocked punt, field goal, extra point this season for the Boilermakers, and that's why we stand at 14-13. Michigan has missed a couple of field goals. One was pulled left, and you just saw the one that was blocked. And underneath to Jones again, and he spins, but he's only to the 37-yard line. Leon Hall brings him down, and it'll be 4th down in a punting situation with the ever-dangerous Steve Bruston, number 15. And
Gabe Watson's been in the middle of it all game. Remember, Purdue loves the low block, cut block, chop block. He's been getting hit from both sides all game.
Trying to give the Wolverines a lift. Breitus off the side of his foot. And it'll be downed over there by Ray Edwards. Got a hand on it. Decent field position coming up for the Wolverines. 6:21 to go, and they trail it by a point. Gorgeous scene. There are so many in this great country of ours. First down and 10, 6:21 to go. Here's Hart, the freshman, turns, first down, and crosses midfield. So is he going to ever dangerous tight end.
That's the matchup that Michigan has used. You bring Edwards in motion, and you match up Massaquoi against Stanford Kegler, a linebacker. That is a good matchup because Massaquoi is like a receiving tight end. In fact, he came to in Michigan as a wide receiver, and he was switched to tight end.
They'll bring the chains across the field.
There has to be an opening. When you put two guys on one player, there has to be a mismatch somewhere else on the field. And Chad Eddy, Terry Malone, the offensive coordinator, has found it a few times in this game with Massaquoi.
Just inches. A busy day in the Big Ten. Wisconsin beating Northwestern by 12, and that is the score at Penn State. 6-4. Iowa wins again. Ohio State breaks through into the win column in the Big Ten, 37, and Minnesota big on the comeback after losing. There's a team that lost a heartbreaker at Michigan in the closing minutes, and it probably hurt them the next week up at Michigan State. They came out flat, and Coach Mason said that was perhaps their worst performance since he became head coach of the Gophers. They bounced back today, and Illinois' woes continue to mount. Third and short. Henne through this season has been very strong behind his center boss and his guards on third and short. Let's see if they do it again. They do. He stepped over to the right-hand side, dove for the first down. The right guard on that side is Matt Lintz. He's a 6'6" senior, 300-pounder.
Michigan is going with the wind, but one thing about this stadium in the closed end, the wind comes down from right to left and starts to swirl in that end zone there. Seen a lot of kicks missed in that end zone because the wind starts to turn in that closed end of the stadium.
Coach Malone elects to go with both the tight ends, Massaquoi and Tyler Ecker.
Kind of comes in like this, Brent, and kind of swirls a little bit right there.
So just like you said, Gary, the coaching staff certainly would like to stick this all the way in the end zone and not have to settle for a field goal attempt. First down and 10. Here's Hart behind Dudley, the fullback. Dudley clears the way, and Hart picks up a first down. And you can see what number 32 means for this offense. Kevin Dudley, an unbelievable lead blocker.
How about Tyler Ecker, Massaquoi, Lentz, and Dudley? 4 guys on that side all did their job perfectly, and Michael Hart stretched it out for a first down. 2 tight ends, the fullback, and the tailback, all a perfect job on that play.
And Hart needs only 6 yards for another 200-yard game. 40 carries last week, 30 carries this week. And Dudley again set off to the right. The ball on the 27-yard line. Hart cuts back and is stopped short of the 25-yard line, picking up a tough yard that time. So it'll be a second down and 9.
The first time all game Purdue has taken only one guy on Braylon Edwards right here. They've loaded the box. They forced, Michigan has, to single cover Braylon Edwards. That's the first time all game they put one-on-one coverage on Braylon Edwards.
Ecker slips in and Avant goes out.
At least in a running down situation. A couple times in the secondary on a blitz situation they've done it.
Now, they line Edwards up and they have brought him across and thrown further outside to Massaquoi.
One-on-one again over to him.
Massaquoi, he comes as a blocker, and Henne looking for him, throws incomplete. This time it was Ecker coming across from left to right. And they're using Edwards to clear out the space and threw underneath to Ecker. But now the big third down, right, Gary, coming up here.
Ray Edwards did a great job of getting into Chad Henne's face because Tyler Ecker was wide open on that play. That's Michigan's staple play right there. You saw Brian Greasy run under the pass with the great tight ends. That time they had the tight end wide open, and Edwards in his face forced a bad throw.
Michigan's going to use a timeout. They'll call timeout for the first time here in the second half, giving them 2 with 3.5 minutes. And Rivas wide left on one, had a second one blocked, waits over there. There are the standings. Illegal block, had a second man engaged him. It would have been an illegal. There's no question about it. Erasmus James, of course, has added a new wrinkle to the controversy. Third down.
Here comes Purdue.
And he fires Edwards, slashes to the middle, short of the first down. Now Michigan.
If that ball would have been thrown upfield for Braylon Edwards, he would have made the first down. The ball was thrown behind Braylon Edwards. He had to slow down for it, and that's why he did not get the first down.
So it is at the 18-yard line is the scrimmage line. So Rivas for a 35-yarder here. Gutierrez the holder. Remember now, he's been wide left once, had one blocked. For the lead. Rivas puts Michigan up. 2:45 to play, and Michigan leads 16-14.
Gutierrez gets it, perfect snap, leans it towards him. Rivas keeps his head down and says, thank God, right between those two yellow things.
Now we check Purdue with one timeout left. Lloyd saw it. Good all the way. And of course, this year, Mike DeBoard is the special teams coach, and this time he was in charge of just keeping Rivas' spirits in the game. I guess the one thing you try to do with a kicker who's misfired a couple times, you got to keep his head in the game, because you never know when you're going to get that next chance, as he did right there. And now Michigan's up 16-14, 2:45.
And Purdue's about in the same spot they were a week ago. Kyle Orton has the ball, a field goal last week to tie, a field goal now to win.
Nienberg to kick it off. And it'll come out on the 20-yard line.
Be very interesting.
Games when you drive home at night. You can hear games from all around the country. It's wonderful. First down and 10. Orton is back in the shotgun. Incomplete, and it will be 2nd and 10 for the Boilermakers. And I'll tell you right now, Taylor Stubblefield thought he was interfered with.
That is what Purdue loves to run, this little choice route on the slant. Stubblefield comes out, starts in, stops, and then continues in. Marlon Jackson played him very physical, and Stubblefield thought that ball was in the air. Watch, he'll come in, stop, and then go. Comes in, stops, and then goes, and you could see Marlon Jackson hit him with his helmet. That could have been an interference call, and probably should have been.
Marlon interfered twice back in the first half. Stubblefield, Big Ten's all-time leading receivers, being shut out. Covered this time. Now he cuts back, and there's his first catch of the game. Reaches for the first down, and he may have it. He does. They're going to spot it on the 30, and there is Stubblefield's first catch of the game, and he continues his streak. He has now caught at least one pass in all 42 games he's played in at Purdue, but it was a struggle. 2.5 minutes to go before he caught his first pass against Marlon Jackson and this Michigan secondary.
Very difficult for the slot guy to cover a receiver all over the field like that. He needs help, Marlon Jackson.
Orton's got to get away. Can't. Slips it beautifully. Still stumbling. And thrown out of bounds.
Great effort by Kyle Orton. Holy cow. Should have been sacked, should have fell down, should have been tackled, and he gets, what, 5-6 yards on the play? I said Marlon Jackson needed help. He got some help. This time it was the pass rush. Gets away, goes to the outside, keeps his balance, gets hit from the backside, and then still falls forward. What a play.
That was Woodley who could not bring him down initially. Number 56, the sophomore from Saginaw, was in on top of him. Second down for Orton. He fires to the freshman Bryant, who can fly. 4-4, here we go. Fumble, Michigan. If they had it before he went out of bounds, they were on the loose football. That was Leon Hall over there. It was close on that sideline.
I think it was Shazer that got the hit, though. Number 25 is the guy that had the big hit on the play. Bryant got sandwiched. Slant from one side. Let's see what happens. Wide open, yards after catch. Here he goes. Watch Shazer, the bottom of the screen. One guy hits him, and then he comes across and gets him while he's in midair. Ernest Shazer makes the big play for Michigan on that one.
And the recovery by Leon Hall, but because it's such a critical play, there is no question that they will review this play upstairs. Gene Carabine, who had a couple of tough calls that he made right in the first half, is now looking at the various angles, just as you are here in the Big Ten.
And the one thing they might want to look at, not that it's just a fumble, but whether it's recovered in field.
I think that's the big issue.
Yeah, does Leon Hall have everything in bounds? When he has the ball, it looks to me like he does.
If he has control of the football.
He is bobbling it a little bit there, though.
If it was being bobbled as he went out of bounds, he did not have control, and it will go back. So there's no question here about
obvious fumble. Now, does Hall have complete control of the ball before any part of his body touches the line?
At that moment, you can't tell if he has control of the ball.
Not on that one. You can't. You can't on
that one.
He's
on top. And
it has to be indisputable to reverse it. It was called Michigan's way, right? What a hit by Shazer. Impact player, found a way to make an impact play.
After further review, video confirmed that the player fumbled the ball and was recovered by Michigan inbounds. First down.
What a play by Shazer. Stayed in the ball game, went for the knockout blow, and got a turnover. Marcus Curry, number 30, gets one part of him. Shazer gets the other part of it, and Leon Hall gets the fumble.
Chad Henne, as Shazer comes up huge again for the Wolverines. Here comes Hart. He'll try to stay in bounds, and he does. And we talked to Ernest Shazer about how he has improved.
I think I'm starting to play a little bit more physical, you know, a little bit more aggressively, you know, just attacking the ball more.
And he did attack that football that time, making the biggest defensive play of this game. And with that last run, Mike Hart is over 200 yards again. So we welcome you to the Michigan-Purdue game at the top of the hour. Another heartbreaking final 8 minutes for the Boilermakers if Michigan can kill the last 120. Second down. Here comes Hart. The 200-yard runner is to the 45. A first down for the Wolverines, and Purdue with only one timeout left.
Brent, I was just told by Dave Abloff from Michigan that Michael Hart becomes the first runner in Michigan history since John Vaughn in 1990 to go back-to-back games, 200 yards rushing. What a turnaround. Michigan's defense that has lived with the turnovers forced one on a big play for Purdue to keep this slim 2-point lead alive.
So here is the possible games in the Midwest next week. Purdue Northwestern, Penn State, Ohio State, Oklahoma State is for sure. Michigan, you just cannot conceive of two tougher losses, and Michigan goes into the victory formation. We'll see how Chad Henne handles it quickly down to the ground.
He's learning.
Let's get an update from John in New York. John.
Well, Brent, Florida State has taken the lead. Xavier Beitia, 22 yards out. He knocks it through. And Wake Forest has played terrific in this game, but now trail at 20-17. When your game is done, Brent, we'll get you out to the end of this one in the ACC. Florida State looking to go 4-1 in conference. Brett, back to you.
All right, John, thank you. And man, your heart goes out to the Boilermakers.
Absolutely.
But on the other hand, the Michigan Wolverines, after that tough loss against Notre Dame, they've come on very strong here in the Big Ten. They're going to stay undefeated, and our Chevrolet players of this game for Michigan, because of that devastating hit and his overall coverage, Ernest Shazer. Brandon Jones went 63 yards for the lead on a pass from Kyle Orton. In recognition of their effort, Chevrolet makes a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. So the Michigan Wolverines stay unbeaten in the Big Ten in hot pursuit of the Wisconsin Badgers. Once again, the final score 16-14. Michigan beats Purdue. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Search ABC Sports. Now let's send you to John Saunders, Craig James, and Aaron Taylor in New York. Take it away, John.